Welcome to BALLBUSTERS Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a Superchat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of those of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Tom Herkins, Tina Baker, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, Skeptic936, Sam Hain, Renee, Rune, Qatar, Paige Love, Michael, Matt, Life is Short, Kirsten Smith, Jeronism, Godrockin, Fireball X, Felix Hung, Edwin Johnson, David Wayne Foster, Dank, Chow Young Cat, Burn Fat Till My Stomach is as Flat as the Earth, Billy Highvault, Alistair Main, and Adrian Quintana. Massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Obviously, this is the warm-up to the BALLBUSTERS live show over on Quantum Eraser, so if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley channels, then go and subscribe if you do want to watch these shows live. Hello to, I think we've got Chocolate, Sleeping Warrior and Quantum Racer himself in Skype, am I correct? Hello one and all.
Woohoo! Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. You're mega loud, by the way, Chocolate. I don't know if you can back off your mic a little bit, because I can't do a great deal about controlling people's mic level in Skype, unfortunately.
That better?
That's better. That's much better. Excellent stuff. Everyone's all excited about food today, with me broadcasting from the food festival. Yeah, Nathan, really excited. Oh, I'm glad you tuned in. It means a lot to me. Yeah, I love that.
But I don't even from the what festival?
Food? I went to the food festival with my family, that was all.
I didn't even see that. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's not an important broadcast when I'm doing like what I do with the family at the weekend. It's just just keeps me amused, and I like streaming stuff. You know what we're covering? Do you know what we're covering today, Anthony, or Chocolate for that matter?
I haven't got a clue. No, tell us.
It's the like, if you like, it's not top 10, but like that's the best way I can summarize it. Like top 10 idiotic GlobeTARD arguments, but it won't be a top 10. Dun, 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 dun. And in at number 10, a new entry for Coriolis effect. Dun, 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 dun. Up to number 8, we've got blah blah blah. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You singing?
I'm doing the Top of the Pops countdown music. For, you know, Top of the GlobeTARD.
I don't think they're on Top of the Pops, will he?
Say again?
Huh. I don't know Top of the Pops, will he?
I don't know. Who cares? I was doing a countdown with GlobeTARD arguments. That's all that matters. Suddenly I'm being questioned on the bloody music like it matters.
Countdown to Sweet Hitchhiker, man, from Creedence. Let's start this show. Let's start rocking, man.
But
are we starting at 1:45 or 0:00?
8 o'clock, of course. 8 o'clock. It's got a quarter of an hour before we start.
Did you have you been keeping up to date with the Globe Live tour? Have you been watching any of it?
Watched you.
Yeah, I'm still on a high from that. Like the ecstasy that's like still in my system from that was just it's gonna last for a while. That I'll be honest, it will.
I'm sure it's fun to have that type of debate.
I absolutely love
live in person, right, with somebody. Yeah.
It was like having
times I've gotten into debates like that at my job, like that. Those are the most fun.
Yeah,
because they're right there in your face. Like you got to come, you got to bring it right there. It's great. You did it awesome.
It was just like It was just like a flat Earth debate, but without the rumpus.
Can I say something? Please.
Yeah.
Hey, Paula, welcome.
I didn't see you there, Paula. Hello.
Hey, Paula.
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead and continue gloating.
I'm just saying that I'm still riding the wave, cowabunga style.
Well, Red Pill mirrored it. You know that, right?
Yeah. I've been playing in his chat, like responding to people like good on both sides, really, just addressing some of the points. It's all good. Basically, what I mean, really, for me, the reason why I was doing it, I know it was a waste of time from the globalized point of view, but it was really to appeal to the flat earthers to demonstrate that we can challenge these people on scientific method and demonstrate that these people are talking shit. I'm all right with that. I don't mind spending 2-3 hours chatting to the people if it demonstrates to our side that we can do this if we stand together. It's really hard to do it on your own, but when you realize how strong the arguments are that basically come from the flat Earth debate show, you can challenge pretty much anybody, and you can show them that they're demonstrating pseudoscience. I mean, we win. It's a winner-winner chicken dinner for everybody.
It is if you know what you're doing. I only say that because a few times I've heard Quantum Eraser point out that if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't really understand the arguments, don't enter into them, because you're just going to represent us badly, and us is people who are fighting against the standard rhetoric. So
yeah, because I only need to make one mistake, and then that kind of thwarts me. She can make as many as she wants because the scientific consensus is definitely with her. I only need to make one big mistake, and I'm gone. I've discredited myself. So if I pick the arguments I know I can have, and I don't pick the arguments that I'm not sure about. I did want to pick a couple of arguments against her, but I wasn't totally sure. So I decided to do that just in case I was wrong. And in hindsight, when I've gone back to look at them, it would have been a good move to not pick the fight with her, because I would have been wrong. So yeah, pick the fights that you know you can win, and we can always win on scientific method.
right. And with reasonable people, obviously, when you put the necessary ingredients together and point out what is missing for them, especially if they have any sort of scientific background, they can't deny.
I enjoyed it. I'll be buzzing for that for a good couple of weeks. I can't help going into chats on other people's channels and say, hey, did you see it? I mean, Jason obviously benefits because he gets the advertising side to it, but I'm proud of it. I enjoyed what I did. I thought it was brilliant.
He said the presumed cause was a dependent variable. Everything before and after that is a train wreck, because she just exposed herself as a certified pretender clown.
Not just, I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was like a misspeak, but I said to her, it was superseded by, or rather preceded by. I said to her, you're struggling with the definition of the independent variable. It's not as if it was caught off guard and we hadn't been talking about it, and I slipped it in there on the sly, and she misspoke, and she knew that she knew it was coming. I told her that I didn't think she knew what the IV was, and she said, no, the presumed cause is the dependent variable, and I was like, you're just so dead.
Yeah. It was pretty funny, man. I caught that part. There was a bunch of them. I might dedicate a show to that, because Anthony, you did such a great job, man.
I do want to know the bits that I didn't get right. So I don't want it to be like pure let's batter them. I want the feedback so that I know where I went wrong or where I should have said something better or whatever.
Sure. There was one that stood out. There's a couple hiccups, but there was tiny in comparison to your entire spill to them. The only one when I put it in Skype today, where she said that a theory is a hypothesis.
Yeah.
And it said correct, because it was just going too fast. You guys, everyone was talking so fast and over top of each other that and I understand it's hard to pick those things up. So it is when it's going fast like that. Things can be missed, especially when there's two of them talking at once. I mean, obviously I'm on my own, so it's not 2v2, it's 2v1, and you do miss things when it's 2v, because they're both over speaking each other at times, and it's not easy to keep up with it. So you're right. I do miss certain things at times, annoyingly. Yeah, like I said, that were small and minor, man. You smoked them. What cracked me up is you started the discussion started not against the wall, but sort of against I guess it was the flat Earth presentation. It was like a butcher block or something over there, and it ended. You were halfway down the street.
Yeah, to be honest, though, the music in the background, it didn't come through as loud on the microphone as what it was in real world. I actually said to Jason at one time, I said, "Fuck me, that music's loud." You didn't come through as good on the microphone as it did for me in the real world. But yeah, it's just things that like the wind, the high wind, and then it would rain all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then it'd be back to windy again. Things like that really just put you off your stride because it is distracting.
And I like that purple shirt, man. It was rocking.
See, that was to appeal to the feminine side, so that I didn't look too much like a mafia or an office worker, or didn't fit into a stereotype. It worked as well. Did you see the hug at the end? She was gritting her teeth like a motherfucker. She did not want to give me a hug or shake my hand.
Yeah, too funny. Yeah, I think, you know what, Anthony? I think that she didn't hate you at the end. It wasn't like that. I don't know. I have to watch it again. I'll have to, get out the microscope and
yeah, she wasn't keen on shaking my hand. That she made that really obvious by the way she looked at me when I went to, like, because obviously I've got to decide how do I say ta-ra to these now, and I was looking at her and I was thinking she doesn't want to shake my hand here at all. So I was trying to just stop her from falling out with me.
She was saying, "Come here, you big lug."
It didn't feel like that at the time. It might have looked that way. It didn't feel like it. She was looking at me like I was like dog poo on a shoe.
Yeah, because there's no way somebody who didn't have her level of science background should be talking to her in the manner that you spoke to her. That's how she felt. You see it on her face the whole time.
How dare you speak to me like that?
Right. Like, how are you asking me about scientific method when I don't even know what the first step of scientific method is? But let's not worry about that.
It was a good part when she said to me, "When was the last time you did a scientific experiment?" And I thought I was obviously referring to my egg experiment, and I started to describe it in a question, and rightly so. She pointed out that her question was when, not what was it at that point. So I said 2 months ago, and it's there or thereabouts ago, 2 months ago, and she said, "What did you prove?" So I told her, and she was like, "Oh, so that's only a 12-year-old could do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't ask me about how old you had to be to do the experiment. You just said, when did I do it?" It was brilliant.
Right. But if she asked you what was your hypothesis or what was your independent variable, you could have named all that. You asked her what was her independent variable in the experiment that she did, and it was like she didn't know.
And when she said she formed a new material, that made it sound like better than what it actually was, because I think all she did was she increased the amount of rust on something. I might be wrong. I didn't quite understand exactly what she did, but she said the creation of a new material to do with iron oxide. That's rust. But she said it was to do with the increase in didn't she say the thermal conductivity of heat or something like that? I was like, what's she talking about there? Interesting. Nonetheless, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
When you were trying to explain to them the bending of space-time is the current gravity model, it's like they didn't even want to listen to you at that point. And then when you were pulling it up for them and they realized that, oh, okay, yeah, so it's because of the mass that creates the force, and that's the bending of space-time which causes the force.
And then he says, then he totally flip-flopped his position, right? He said, "Yeah, that's what I was trying to say," and I'm like, "You fucking
right."
And his face, if you watch it as well, watch his reaction when I say that was a flip-flop. It was like as if he's just caught me there.
How did you find Roy Orbison? I mean, Mr. Cheswick.
The dodgy used car salesman off True Lies. To be honest, he was endearing. I was surprised he even turned up. He was on the back foot, obviously, because he wasn't quite sure what reception he'd get. But I mean, I'm not one of them guys that'll go out and start throwing punches around. I'm really not like that. But at the end of the day, if he would have come punching like the way Antonio threatens, kind of thing, then that's going to change things, isn't it? But he was meek. Huh?
Did you call Roy Orbison?
Mr. Cheswick.
Roy Orbison? Is that
Oh,
what
you ran into him?
That's who was there. Yeah, he turned up.
Oh yeah. How did that go? That was cool.
Well, he was quite meek and humble to be fair.
Was he the guy in the camera?
Right at the very end. Right at the very end.
Very...
In the last couple of the last 2 minutes, as I said to them, and off they went. It was Cheswick that I was talking to.
So you think it's like?
I gotta finish it.
Hold on. You think he looks like Roy Orbison?
Get a picture of Roy Orbison, put it next to a picture of Cheswick, and tell me if you don't think they look similar.
Really?
I prefer the used car salesman on True Lies. You know when Arnie was taking that car out, test driving it, and he looked across and he was bragging about sleeping with that woman.
About Bill
Paxton. That's
Paxton.
That's Paxton. Game over,
Paxton.
man. That's him.
Game over.
That's like a 10-year-old boy.
He doesn't look like.
I'm not sure with the reference that you got there for Paxton. I'm not sure what you're on about.
That's the guy. That's the guy, the used car salesman in True Lies.
Oh, I don't know. What, Jeremy Paxton?
Oh my god.
No, Bill Paxton.
Bill
Paxton.
Oh, Paxton.
The guy that plays the used car salesman. He's also the same guy in Aliens that does the game over, man.
He's got some great lines. In True Lies, his line was he's held up by his like the scruff of his neck, if you will. He's in his underpants and he's on a dam that he's being threatened to throw off. And he's like, "I've got a tiny dick too. It's pathetic."
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, hello. Hey, how about when he says, "Question"?
Came in just at the right conversation moment.
Go on, QE. Then I want to find out who's on the call. Then we'll start.
He's oh man. When he said in Aliens, Bill Paxton, question. He goes, "Yes, private," and he says, "How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?"
Cure that shit, Hudson.
Oh, we haven't started yet.
No.
I was gonna say I'm on mute, but it's no use if it's not being recorded.
Right, let's have the briefing. First and foremost, who's on the call? Who am I introducing? I've got Arwin, Chocolate, Quantum Eraser, Sleeping Warrior, and Paula. Anybody else?
I've not heard Paula speak though.
I haven't either. She's in the chat though.
She just came off mute. Paula, is your mic working?
Unless we can prove the observed phenomena, she's not here.
You might want to come out and rejoin again, Paula. Your mic's not working. Yeah, we can hear you. But no, we can't hear you.
But why did you say, yeah, we can hear you?
Because slip of the tongue.
2 minutes and we're going live.
Who's presenting?
You are. Better be. Otherwise, that's it. I'm packing up. I'm going back to my bed.
Good night, Nathan.
All
right,
it.
Paula.
It's all over. Packing it up. Thank you for watching.
Hey. No, we can't hear you. Yeah, you got mic issues. Well, join the club.
Try turning it off and on again.
So Anthony, what was so troubling about the music that I was posting? What's up with that, man?
Oh, I'm joking.
Give Paula another minute just to see if she can sort her mic out. It's top of the hour. Got 1 more minute, Paula, and hopefully you'll have to fiddle with it during the live show.
Your microphone, that is.
No need. Welcome to BALLBUSTERS Live on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this, the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Quantum Eraser goodness. There's also a PayPal and a Superchat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. Now, we are joined by Quantum Eraser himself, Sleeping Warrior, Chocolate Saiyan, Arwin, and Paula, otherwise known as Bible Literalist. Welcome, one and all.
Good evening.
Hello, hello.
That gap was Paula with a mic that's not working. Hey, QE. Super
Ahoy,
slick.
hoy.
Super slick. Welcome to BALLBUSTERS. So, was that Paula? Was that Paula? I know it's not professional to do a sound check right after the intro, but did we hear her?
No, it was me, I think.
No, okay, no
Yeah,
worries.
that was Riley.
No worries. So we're rolling, we're live, that's all that matters. So on this particular live broadcast, we're going to be covering some of the sillier GlobeTARD assertions that are made as a use to prove the globe / disprove flat Earth in some instances. So it's going to be a roller coaster of dumb nonsense, but nevertheless, it'll be entertaining for those of you who are already in the know and appreciate that the world is obviously and observably flat.
I have a question before we start.
Question?
Has this been scripted or is it totally ad hoc?
Oh, it's never totally ad hoc, but it's, you know.
I've not seen any script. This is ad hoc from my perspective.
This right now is ad hoc, but most, if not all, of QE's presentations have already been developed. But in this particular instance, it hasn't been honed for this episode. Let's put it that way.
We're winging it.
No, not really. It's a proper presentation. Stuff will go up on screen. People can read text.
Okay.
That's a proper developed presentation.
Okay, so let's go. What's the first point then, John?
What? No foreplay?
No.
Okay, then let's do some foreplay.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the foreplay? Who wants to lead here? Obviously, I'm not leading because I'm not quite sure what the foreplay is in this context.
This is starting to sound really dirty, guys.
Nathan started it.
It's just a chit chat before we get into the presentation for real. So maybe
This is not a
if I
swapping party, okay?
could do the hosting bit and say, "What's your favourite stupid globe proof, Anthony?"
Gravity.
Mine's Coriolis.
Alan, what's your favourite pet hate or your favourite pet topic that you like to talk about the most?
I don't know. It all gets equally bad depending on what their obsessive focus is going to be. So I don't know. Gravity can be really annoying, and especially that they don't actually know what it is, what it does, what they think it does. With Coriolis, it is the persistent inability to tie the double think that they perform together in one structure in their minds.
We all know what Spurs' favourite topic is at the minute.
Oh God! Don't bring that up.
Yeah, but
No, I'm not going to do.
I'm going to take Arwen's answer as he doesn't like the double speak in all of their answers.
Yeah, that's mostly it. Well, it's not, double speak can be kind of funny. It's just that if you do it as a trick, okay, I guess it could be kind of funny, but when you do it to actually fool yourself and then get pointed at it and don't see it, that's when things get really scary, in my opinion.
Yeah, you have people having shades and things when their double speak's pointed out. What was that, Chocolate?
No, I was gonna say it is a little rough to listen to them make a statement and then negate that statement in the following statement, or sometimes in the same statement, which is their whole argument. And it's like, what are you doing? We're like, why? What's going on here?
And sometimes they do it even artistically so. They manage to make a interesting sounding philosophical statement from it. Like, not having to take things on the what is level and that, and
right.
you can think of it as this is all creative
and then they try
attempts.
to fix it up.
But this is creative improvisation on their part, really, when they do that.
I mean, do they think about it like that? Or like when somebody like George Musser says, you could think of it as a force. Do they really, in their mind, say, yeah, you can really think of it as a force, even though I know it's not a real force, but we could just make it seem like a force and just do math. And yes, force. It almost seems like a self-brainwashing. Like, it's crazy.
I got to cite a George Musser article the other day in Liverpool. It's not the one that I normally cite about the Einsteinian gravity superseding Newtonian principles. It was his other one to do with time dilation. And this girl put me on the spot and she asked me to explain the observation of time dilation. And I was like, what observation? There isn't one. She claims there is one, but there isn't really one. But she wanted me to explain it, so I managed to get a shout out to George Musser in it again. And I challenged George, what's his name, Fight the Flat Earth, to question me on that one as well again. Just in case he did want to pick on me again. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Time dilation, that's ridiculous. You'd have to have even theoretically, you would have to have extreme situations, extreme gravity situations, which I don't know what it really is, in order to even supposedly have anything like that.
The only time I've ever seen any time dilation was on Superman.
You can't dilate time, dude. Time's a concept. You can't bend it.
No, I've seen time dilation, John. I watched Superman when he was spun backwards around the Earth when Lois Lane died, and he dilated time then.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah. That's the only example of time dilation I've ever seen. Oh, and obviously Back to the Future.
Let's see if Paula has any.
Just have a quick heads up from Paula, see if we can get any sound out of her. Can you hear us, Paula?
I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah. Bible
Skype
literalist,
updates.
Bible literalist, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe today. Good to have you, Paula.
Thank you. Yes, it was a Skype update that changed all my settings to default, and so I had to go fix them. But I agree, time is not a thing that can be bent, and neither is space.
Or dilated.
Or dilated.
And that thing on Superman where he flew backwards over the Earth, that's not real. Like, it's not at the what is level. Oh, hang on, what's the saying he says? It's not at
the operate at the what is.
The only thing real there was the actor. So.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering that would that happen on the Earth if there was no Coriolis effect? Sorry.
That spinning around the world backwards, that was the end of Superman 1, wasn't it? That was the first Superman with Christopher Reeve, right?
Yep.
Yeah, when Lois Lane died in the earthquake that swallowed a car.
Right. Did you know that was intended to be the end of Superman 2? They filmed both of them at the same time, and based on how it was received by the critics, they actually rushed together a cobbled version of both Superman 1 and 2 and just changed the ending to be Superman 2's ending on Superman 1. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, you learn something new every day. I'm full of useful information like that. Very, very handy to know.
It's the same director, right? 1 and 2?
No, not the same director.
No?
No, they did. When Superman 2 was done, it was done by a completely different director with a very different vision, and they didn't get Marlon Brando, and there's a few other things that didn't quite go the way for the movie. And then, I don't know, the 25, 30 years later, the original director who did, let's say, 60% of the actual footage that was shown in Superman 2, went back and did his cut with his version, with some CGI, Marlon Brando, and various other things. There's two versions of Superman.
So they had a lot of surplus footage in the first movie. Not surplus,
they filmed 2 movies at once, so no, not at all. They just ended up editing part of what was intended for number 2 on number 1, and then obviously it got released, did very well, and then it went back to, but with a different director. But then later on, much later on, the same director went back to it and got together all of the cans of footage and re-edited Superman 2. So there's 2 versions of Superman 2. One is really corny, and the other one's quite good.
2 versions of Superman 2?
Yes.
Anyway,
I did know that, actually.
Fascinating film trivia.
Nathan, you are a font of useless knowledge.
You also know that Super Mario Brothers 2 isn't really Super Mario Brothers. I'm only joking. Let's move on. That's true too. That's true too. Anyway.
What about that time dilation? It's not.
About
it's not
that Mandela effect that we don't have and isn't real. Yeah, about it.
Yeah, it's just your mind playing tricks on you because you don't remember precise details on demand always.
Right, exactly. You're pushing some garbage out when you're pushing other garbage in.
Yeah.
Hey, what's Paula's favorite BALLBUSTERS argument?
I never tried to think of a favorite.
Oh, come on, you must have your favorite ones. Everyone's got their favorites.
I think probably gravity. That's the thing that they go to most often is stuff just falls down, therefore there must be gravity and it must work the way we thought and we think, we prove. I mean, it's just there. Look at it.
Yeah. There's got to be a shout out to the other one that they always do, which is the appeal to the claim that is there's hundreds of years of science and all the experiments and there's like literally nothing, and it's like they all think it. It's like they say it and don't even.
It's actually a statement of shame. They just don't know it yet. It's like,
but they all seem to say
we have hundreds of years. We know this, right?
Yeah. Right? It just seems to drip off the mouth as though it's like a total logical lie, but they just say it anyway. But they all have that unison about them where it just naturally flows. It's like, how do you all know to lie like this? It's like none of you know any of the experiments, but you believe that they're all there. That makes them real.
The only problem with the current setup for the GlobeTARDs is they're led into a very false sense of security. So we had it yesterday. The Flat Earth debate that I'm talking about will go out tomorrow on Sunday. And there's a dude that comes on and at the end he claims, look, man, this is only my first time here. And it's like, no, you came in with such gusto, such arrogance in terms of his total understanding that he was correct. You know, in other words, he walked in with the pre-understanding that we're complete idiots and he'd easily debunk anything we said with only a limited understanding of the globe and its model. And that's a very bad position to be in when you face off with someone like Sleeping Warrior or me or basically anybody on the panel who actually does understand how to argue the subject and typically won't be the ones getting cornered, will be cornering them. But like I say, it's terrible if you're that person because you know, most people who come to this subject and new are going to go, well, we already know it's a globe. In other words, there's that deep-seated arrogance that they're already right.
Yeah. And obviously we've got the total opposite. We're like, I'm not that sure that I am right, but it does seem logical that we're right because it doesn't seem like you've got all the evidence that you've got. But everybody on our side seems to have that 50-50ness where they're not always absolutely confident in everything. So I'm going to approach with caution. I'm not going to be crazy with all my assertions. But on the other side, it's like anything goes. They can just literally spew it. They just dribble it out the mouth like it's baby food. It's ridiculous.
That's the default position for people, though, isn't it? A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, and most people don't appreciate that. Now, here, we have to be acutely aware that if we even get it slightly wrong in an argument, it will be held over the fires. So we don't want to get it wrong in any way, shape, or form, and have to be very careful with our phraseology, our terminology, the semantics of what we're saying. It's all got to be very carefully thought out so that we're not held to account on something that's accidentally incorrect. So
yeah, even if you're just slightly off, they'll use that little bit off to explain away all of the rest that you've said.
Yeah, we've also got to be.
They love the straw man you.
I was just about to say that.
Whenever they get the chance.
I was just about to say we've also got to be logical fallacy ninjas and be able to spot their.
Yeah. Right. You'll say something, then they'll suddenly have this elaborate interpretation of what you said, while that obviously has nothing to do with what you actually said, and then straw man you with that for like 5 minutes.
Right.
Brenda especially likes doing that.
I've just thought of another one that's my pet hate as well, even though it's not in the top 5. It's when we start talking about the meanings of words and we say like no doesn't mean yes and force doesn't mean non-force and not real doesn't mean real. And then they just turn around and say, but that's just semantics.
Pseudo means sham.
It's what?
Pseudo means sham.
Yeah, but when we start applying the meanings of words, they just call that semantics. But when they do it to us, I mean, I saw Slice Barkane's thing against FE the other day, and he had the dictionary out, and I've never seen a baller get the dictionary out. But when it suits them, they're happy to do it. But when we do that, they're like, "Oh, it's just semantics," and I'm like, "Hang on a minute." But we're not allowed to use the dictionaries to interpret the words now. Is it only that way when you guys want to rely on the meanings of words, or what?
Yeah, how many people
just
lost
semantics? Hey,
their
it's just your religion.
whenever you brought up the definition of supersede, how many people lost their shit?
Yeah.
And with it on screen, they're like, nah, that's not what it means. It means refined and worked with. Like, shut up! It says replaced. Like, are you kidding?
I think what it is, them people have been watching too much Fight the Flat Earth, and I've heard people saying that gravity is the container, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not a force.
We're lucky
Shut
when
up
we
to Fight the Flat Earth.
We're lucky when we enter into this sort of discourse, though, because we are being recorded, and while we might knock the people who will enter into these conversations as rookies, when we're entering into a conversation with a dissonant GlobeTARD, their words, their doublespeak, their incorrect assertions are dedicated to these recordings. You know, we've got one guy in Discord at the moment. I'm hoping QE's published the link for Discord in the bottom of his live chat. We shall see. But if not, if you're a member of the Science versus Pseudoscience, I should say, Discord server, then there will be interactive parts of this show where we'll briefly hand over to the Discord server. If there's any public opinion or questions, etc., feel free to do so. If you haven't, QE, can you pop a link for the public to join in the info box below the live stream?
There is a link in the info box for Discord.
Perfect. So anybody who's watching this right now on the Quantum Erasers channel live, you can join via the public link in the info box at the bottom. We crack on with the presentation.
Is that enough foreplay?
I wanted to get back to semantics. That has to be one of the lamest, stupidest appeals. Yeah. Semantics. Yeah, words, they mean things. So
yeah, they do.
We go to semantics. You don't change the meanings of the words, clowns. That's why.
Did you notice that girl in Liverpool when I said something like, "What happens if your experiment doesn't match the claim?" And rather than accepting or rejecting the null or the alternative, she said, "You change the maths."
Change the maths. I didn't catch that bit. That's what she said. My God.
Oh, it's ace.
Who's claiming to be
It's Catholicism.
He was claiming to be educated in science, so that's an embarrassment.
They both want. I call her a quantum mechanics girl.
Just getting a little bit of feedback from someone else. Just try and keep yourselves on mute if you're not talking.
I may dedicate a show at some point. I just haven't had the time because of the channel, which was a whirlwind. Before we start, I just want to state that the tentative debut date for my channel is Tuesday, September 17th. Be here or be sphere.
When you say
you haven't had time to do something, does that mean like you've not had a conceptual medium an arbitrary time scale that we give it, or did you not have the time that doesn't actually exist?
False dichotomy.
It's like I'm not even here. It's literally like I'm not even here. So you're already debuted. You just mean when you're running it rather than me.
Yeah. yes. I was going to say something like that, but I thought I'd get it by.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. I was like, wait a minute.
When QE's actually
pressing
on
the
his
buttons channel right now, like what?
It's a big deal to him, absolutely meaningless to his audience. Not even worth mentioning, literally. Because to them it makes no odds who presses go. It doesn't matter. But anyway.
Yeah. So you want to get on with it?
What, no foreplay?
That was pretty good foreplay. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
You talked like 20 soon. I was going to make a time dilation joke.
Yeah.
But I was going to make a time dilation joke, but...
No, go ahead. That's fine.
The moment has passed. The moment has passed. Right, you're up.
Right.
We've got you on screen.
All right, we did this presentation a few months ago. I added to it, took a little bit away. This is a step-by-step block of instruction demonstrating how you deconstruct BALLBUSTERS arguments and hand-spinning space monkeys their asses. Step by step. So, this first claim, I haven't heard this in a while. The baller claim, yeah, you'll recognize it. Why are these la la la? And they always, just post a picture. Sometimes they don't even post that. Why are these la 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 disappearing below the horizon? Now, I haven't been on the circuit all that much. It's just been hit or miss for me, but I haven't heard this appeal ever since we brought this up. So that's probably a good thing. So, but let's deal with it anyway, because there's a concept behind it that I want to touch on. So number one, hello, McFly. They immediately shift the burden of proof fallacy and request you explain it, right? Well, you didn't make the claim. I'm not responsible to explain your claims. That's the concept behind that. Still happens. It's happening all the time. It happened like 5 or 6 times on the show this week. So my response is, what in the world? Why would I need to explain it? I never claimed anything whatsoever to do with your la la la. It's your evidence, so you validate it. Your claim, counselor. It's not my claim, it's your claim. That's what I tell them. Crayon munchers, do you wander around aimlessly asking complete strangers to explain your claims? And that's what happens to a lot of flat earthers that, they're on these debate shows and these guys just they just make stuff up and ask you to explain it, implying that they have the correct answer somewhere behind them, but they want you to explain it. That's nonsensical. I'm not explaining it. Now, if I made a claim for something, then yes, I'm responsible for the claim to provide evidence. Duh. I mean, you have to be some type of insane, to walk up to somebody, a complete stranger, and ask them to explain something that they didn't make claims for. I mean, what in the world? Are you insane? You guys are in dire need of some new tactics. Like, hire a preschooler and float this nonsense to them. See if they laugh before you bring it out of the closet to us.
Come on, QE, explain unicorn farts. Nathan is always talking about it.
Negative. And with your observe and declare explanation, we're going to need you to validate it. That is, when you post your claim, you need to validate, the steps. A, natural phenomena observed. B, formal scientific hypothesis. C, identify the independent, dependent, and control variables in the experiment, and post a null hypothesis that was rejected or falsified. Why? Well, you're directly implying a cause and effect relationship. Your la 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 is obstructed due to curvature. That's what you're implying when you make this claim. So there's a method that adjudicates and validates natural cause and effect relationships. It's called the scientific method. See A, B, C, and D directly above, right up here. Right? You guys forget about that. From the University of Rochester Physics Labs. Common mistakes in applying the scientific method. The most fundamental error is to mistake the hypothesis for an explanation of a phenomena without performing experimental tests. Sometimes common sense and logic tempt us into believing that no test is needed. There are numerous examples of this dating from the Greek philosophers to present day. But you BALLBUSTERS clowns, you don't even have a friggin' hypothesis, right? All you have is your picture with your crashing religious spin-attached just so story. That's why you immediately shift the burden of proof fallacy and ask others to explain it, because you can't. All you can do is parrot wiki, your alma mater. So flat earthers, take your head out of your fourth point of contact and set these retards straight right from the outset. As soon as they ask you to explain something that you didn't make claims for, call them on it. Say, hey, I didn't claim that, you did. Go ahead and explain it, and then confirm and validate it via experiment. Or it's just a fairy tale, right? The religious retards don't even know their own model. And we're back on this argument about going below the horizon or obstruction, right? From their alma mater wiki again. Atmospheric refraction near the ground produces mirages. Such refraction can also raise or lower, or stretch or shorten the images of distant objects without involving mirages, right? You see this term right here when they say lower? You understand what that means. If you don't, let's get specific. From the physics of the air, in 1920, your own model quote unquote. Sinking is the opposite of looming. In sinking, objects that are normally seen above the horizon appear to be less elevated or may even disappear below the horizon. So the answer is in your own model. Why are you asking us? It's right here. My word, people. Maybe that's why they stopped with this question. But I don't know. I'll put it out to the group. I haven't heard it since we did this presentation a few months ago, but let's see. Questions, comments?
Also get a bit from Discord as well, so if you're in Discord, be prepared to be asked. Hopefully we won't get complete silence out of you. Do you want to go first, Darwin? As you interrupted.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Nah, I was just goofing around, but George is in chat. George, the shaving man. Calling Huey an evangelist.
So, with regards to the sinking and looming claim, I've seen with my own observations and my own path, my own experiments or tests or whatever you want to call it, supporting evidence, observations, whatever. I've seen times, I've rang Nathan and said, bloody hell, Nathan, it doesn't half look bendy today. And he's like, nah, it's not going to be bendy. It's just the way it looks that particular day. I've also seen days when it's been flat as a pancake and absolutely no evidence whatsoever of curve. I've seen it both ways. I've seen it both ways, like in the sense that once I've seen it look watery, like curvy water. It's common. Usually it looks flat, but I have seen it go both ways. And I would say that when I've seen boats that look like they're behind the horizon, that is explained by this phenomenon or this explanation called sinking, because I have seen it do that myself. And if anybody's honest on their side, they will have seen it too. But they'll never tell you that they've seen it when it looks like it's been presented behind the curve and gone or whatever. They'll only pick the ones that suit their narrative. But I've seen it both ways, and I can say that I would agree with what's just been described by John. Because stretching and shrinking, towering and looming and all this, the atmosphere does do weird things. It does confuse you, and I can't tell what is the default position. Sometimes it looks bendy, sometimes it looks flat. I just don't know. Usually it does look flat. But I have seen the odd occasion where it does look bendy, and it's refractive effects caused optically to the perception of the observer. Whatever the world is, it's inconsistent and it's unpredictable and it's unreliable, and it's never really the same horizon twice in my eyes.
Well, there's another way to approach it, though, to get serious for a moment. But yeah, I totally agree. Well, I think that despite these concealments and the bending going on, because that can be kind of irregular, usually when they get the whole curvature idea is a combination of some bending going on and concealment and all that, and then the lack of air clarity being extra high so that you just don't see that far. Because even with all the bendy effects, if the air clarity is sufficiently good enough, then you'll always be seeing that there's just more beyond that apparent curve point where the bending goes on. So that is how I see it. There simply is no persistent cumulative drop.
Yeah. Totally unpredictable. You can't predict what you're going to get.
Right. But just before you two carry on this conversation,
I would say,
Chocolate, words from you?
Yeah, I would say we don't really hear these types of arguments too much anymore, because it's like, even though all these things, we know these things happen, there is perspective, sinking, looming, all these things do happen in the atmosphere and cause different effects, when looking at them. But the thing is like, how do you get from that to curvature? And it's like, oh, you guys have a calculator that gives you curvature?
Yeah, it's not that reliable horizon anymore.
Really? And
yeah.
do you account for all these things in that calculator? And then what else you have in that calculator? A presupposed R value in there? That's cool. Where'd you get that from? So how does any of this tell us actually that there is curvature? Yeah. It doesn't. So, and they know not to bring that here. So that's not happening.
You hear a spoiler? Oh, we've already sorted you, haven't we? Sorry. Yes, of course you can.
Yeah, the fact that there's such a phrase as optical illusion ought to be the first clue that when you're talking about what you can see, whether it's your eye or a camera, you're talking about something complicated in the real world because of all the variables, and they're continually changing, especially over water, over the ocean. So if they're talking about boats over the horizon, anybody who would just say that's curvature and walk away does not understand science or logic or physics of light. I mean, I studied that as one of the physics courses in college. Is we did all sorts of things with light. It's how fiber optics work, is the fact that light can be bent, and how holograms work is the fact that your brain can be easily fooled. We had all sorts of experiments with creating optical illusions, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with the artist Escher. His drawings are absolutely, they're fun to look at because they defy everything your brain is telling you about the real world. So right off the bat, anybody who says, because I see the bottom of the boat disappear first, then that means there's curvature, is just ignorant on so many levels. I don't know where to start.
Before we move on, I just want to ask the panel one question, and then we'll get a few opinions from Discord. What exactly is the horizon?
The apparent position where the sky and the sea appear to meet.
What does apparent mean?
Not real. Like a virtual particle? Not real.
Actual.
Not actual. Not actual position.
Does it matter if we're working at the what is level, or is this only to do with the real world level?
Yeah, well, we do really is over here.
There is a point. The horizon is an apparent position, a not actual position, where it seems the ground meets the sky. So the point of this is that when you are applying these mathematics to things that have, and this is John's point, may have sunk or loomed. Forget about the arbitrary application of 7/6 of the begging the question R value that Chocolate pointed out. It might be either or. You're not measuring anything in most instances when it comes to these mathematics. You're just applying the arbitrary terrestrial value of refraction as opposed to measuring any actual refractive values. But the point is that they're reifying that not actual position into the leading edge of their sphere. How much has it gone over the horizon? That's a nonsense statement. Over the not actual position where the sky meets the ground, meets the sea, or whatever it is you're looking over. Well, who cares? But that's what they're measuring. So I'll just raise the mic on Discord and see if there's anybody. We've got a few people in there. Virus, is it Democh, and your letters are just too small. Sin something or other. Hello, good to have you.
Why these people do join on?
Well, they might have something to add.
Contribute. Why are you there?
Every single one of them on mute. At least have the opportunity. A couple more seconds, then we'll move on. QE.
Well, the only baller in there is Acum Virus. The other two are flat earthers.
No, fair enough. Should we move on, QE?
Yeah, that's fine. I want to go back to something that you stated, which was really important, Nathan. Thank you for bringing that up. When they state refraction, they're immediately begging the question because they're using terrestrial refraction, and R is automatically assumed in their equations. So that's really it's begging the question fallacy right off the bat. And I liked how you differentiated that with refraction, because light does refract, but when they say it, they mean terrestrial refraction. Also, another good point, outstanding. It's the apparent position. The horizon is an apparent position. So you stated it perfectly. Thanks for adding that.
Well, there is another thing to mention about that 7/6R and begging the question point. And when they basically, the minute they apply refraction and the 7/6R, if you look to where Mick West claims that he gets his numbers from, he claims he gets it from the International Standard Atmosphere, the ISA. But his numbers are based on an R value that is not mentioned in any way whatsoever on the International Standard Atmosphere model. So basically, it's a false representation of fact, intending on deceiving people, because it isn't based on the thing that he claims it's based on. It's based on a geometric curve. Well, that's not the International Standard Atmosphere. So don't allow him to don't allow them to use refraction when it's not based on the International Standard Atmosphere that it claims it's based on. It's a false claim designed to deceive people. In other words, just reject it. Don't let them do it.
Okay, you're back up.
Cool. So we all know this one. Say hello to 2015. Hey, 2015 called. They want this disheveled monkey back. The angle to Polaris changes 1 degree every 69 miles you move south, right? Number one, this isn't a scientific inquiry or proof. For brevity, angles are not natural phenomenon. Number two, the measurement is based and taken from the horizon. And we just got done talking about this. The horizon is only apparent, meaning not actually, right? Number three, latitude and longitude lines aren't frigging real. They're imaginary and are based on a sphere. See Eratosthenes. Ergo, you're begging the question. Number four, this whole disheveled monkey is an entire affirming the consequent formological fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. Here it is. If the spherical Earth with a radius of la is true, P, we will observe differing elevation angles to Polaris as a function of distance from the North Pole, Q. We observe differing elevation angles from the North Pole, Q. Therefore, the Earth is a sphere, therefore P. Prove the spherical Earth first, crayon munchers. P.S. Please actually support your claim, right? This is what we need for you to pay close attention, ballers. So, A, you need to show the sextant and the calibration certificate. B, we need to see a baller stand on the geographic North Pole and show us Polaris 90 degrees above their head. C, for support, at least 5 other points with a multiple of 69 miles from geographic North Pole and the degree measurement. One must be on the equator. D, we're not going to accept any of your crayon munching cartoons, none of your images or graphics, or harebrained claptrap models. They won't be accepted. We're into the really is world. You have to show this to us. Are we tracking? PS number 2. I love this one. As Polaris gets closer to the not actual horizon, its position is also apparent due to celestial refraction. Is that going to cause any problems? A, validate that Polaris is 323 light years away. That's the current spiel that they're giving us, 323 light years away. The previous estimate was 434 light years. Guess what the error is on that, folks? 643 trillion mile error. Can you grasp this? Do you know there are in 30,000 years 1 trillion seconds? This is almost unimaginable. It's almost incomprehensible, the size of this little fiasco here. That's how ridiculous it is, folks. PS number 3, Polaris isn't 90 degrees above the magnetic north either. The BALLBUSTERS don't know the difference between magnetic north, geographic north, that's true north, grid north, and celestial north. They don't. I catch them all the time. PS number 4, attempting to discern the shape of what you're standing on by looking to the heavens is tantamount to trying to ascertain the shape of Cassiopeia by looking at a mud bog. Yeah, utter morons. In conclusion, what we got here is known in the industry as a convoluted gaggle screw, peddled and parroted by no-depth Wiki Discovery Channel parroting pretender clown Muppets. It couldn't discern the difference between their asses and a pipe wrench. So, ballers, I see a bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way. Looks like you're in for nasty weather. You got me. Questions, comments?
We'll go to Just to mix it up a bit, we'll go to Discord first. I think Acumvirus has got a question about angles. Head. Share your pain.
I see trouble on the way.
Oh, he's obviously left and rejoined. He's on server mute. Sorry, Acumvirus. Go ahead.
Yeah, be on me. It's okay. I want to ask you, John, how do you figure angles aren't natural?
Angle.
Hear the question,
How
QE.
do I figure angles are not natural? Show me a natural angle.
How are angles not natural? That's my question.
Oh, how are angles natural? That's my question.
Answer it. What's an
Because they
angle?
appear in in nature.
Can you show us?
So how are they not natural?
Can you show us a natural angle, please?
What is an angle? Just tell me what is an angle.
Okay, like for instance, the perfect way to throw an object would usually be around a 45-degree angle.
Right. So what is an angle? Define an angle.
You're so screwed.
Definition of an angle.
It's a way of describing something, isn't it?
Just define an angle. Just the guy that's asking the question. Just define an angle.
Your view of something related to something else.
That's not a definition of an angle.
That's not showing us.
What's the definition of an angle?
We're asking you to show us one. You're saying, how is an angle not natural? And we're saying, oh,
yeah,
right, well,
that's my question. Don't
I know. I'm summarizing.
Answer the question. I really want to know.
I realize.
Why does he say that angles aren't natural? That's all I want to know. I'm not
I
trying
understand.
to
I was summarizing your point, but now you
how.
won't seem to shut up. You think that now you run the show. Yes, I was summarizing your point. You're asking why angles are not natural, and our response is,
Correct.
Please, can you show us a natural angle? Not describe what they are. Show us one. Can you do that?
Somebody just asked for the definition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, you know
like a
what?
definition of an angle.
This ain't cool. Right.
Yeah, first define it, and in defining it, we were hoping you would realise that this isn't something you're going to be showing us out in nature now, but that hasn't managed to sink in yet.
Y'all just don't want to answer my question. That's okay.
We've answered your question by pointing out that you're never going to show us anything that would justify it being natural, because it's not. It's a description of something. And then you tried to describe it when we asked you to show it. Admittedly, you'd been asked to define it, but we thought by asking you to define it, in so doing, you would appreciate that it's not something you're just going to produce and put up on screen as something natural. It's a description of something.
And it's moron to ask us to show the non-existence of something.
Right. Anyway, let's go around the panel. So, Ballbusters assemble. We'll start with Paula.
Yeah, what I don't think they were understanding is that nature doesn't say straight up is 90 degrees. I mean, nature doesn't mark things in degrees. So
that's what I was hoping he'd say. I was hoping he'd say it's a measurement in degrees, and then I'd say, well, what's a degree? And then he'd say, hopefully something like an arbitrary number that we've assigned to a certain unit or an integer or whatever. But ultimately, it's a scale. It's an arbitrary scale that we've given to something that helps us get through day-to-day life. But the question is, how is it not natural? And the answer, of course, is, well, we've created it. So how is it natural? Sorry, how is it not natural? Bollocks. How is it natural?
How can
it's just like north, west, east, south. Those are directions we name, but nature doesn't say this way is north, this way is south. Nature doesn't say any of that.
No.
Yeah, well juxtaposed. So it's about as natural as north.
There you go.
So in that context, would you accept that we've answered your question?
Yeah, that answered it. I appreciate you. That's all I wanted was an answer. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was a pleasant discourse. Amazing. Arwen, anything to add? And then we'll go to chocolate.
No, not really.
Fair enough. Chocolate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Happy to move on if you're ready, QE.
Well, that was quick. We ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm as surprised too. I'm as surprised as you are. Yes, we are. I've got you up.
All right. The next Trainwreck 2015 argument, still making the circuit. The sun doesn't change angular size throughout the day, right? So,
who's eating crisps? Put the Doritos away. Put the Doritos down.
And slowly back away.
Back away from the Doritos and put yourselves on mute.
All right, we good?
I think we're okay. Carry on.
All right. Like I said, angular size means apparent size. Apparent in our context means not actual. According to your fairy tale narrative, the sun's position is also apparent. So, you guys haven't really thought this through. The retard's actual query is, why does the not actual size, that is angular size of the sun, not decrease its not actual size as it moves from its not actual position? This is their actual question, but they don't realize it, right? They just parrot it. Oh, the sun doesn't change angular size, right? You don't realize that this is the actual question that you're asking, man. Every time I hear it, I just snicker to myself. We expose it on the show all the time. So, number 2, false equivalence fallacy. Is there a difference between terrestrial observations and celestial observations when considering angular, apparent, not real size and position? You think? 3, this entire fiasco, again, is another affirming the consequent formological fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P, here it is. If the sun is 93 million miles away, or a great distance, or whatever, from the Earth, P, then the angular size of the sun will remain the same throughout the day, Q. We observe the angular size of the sun remaining the same, Q. Therefore, the sun is 93 million miles away, therefore P. You guys really realize that this is what you're actually saying, right? I don't think you do, because you've been saying it for about 3 years now. You're still not getting it. I'll hear it probably Monday or Tuesday. Same old nonsense. Stop clumsily circle jerking us around with your mindlessly parroted second grade playground fallacy fantasies and prove the sun is 93 million miles away first. You daft muppets. Oh, by the way, if you YouTube Chris Van Maitre, does the sun change size? That's the title. The apparent sun does change its size throughout the day and the year. I don't really care because it doesn't make any difference, but it's just, you need to go here and check this out. And yes, he uses solar filters. Clowns. All right, that's it. Questions, comments?
I was just going to say, I had somebody do that on the show the other day, and I summarised the affirming the consequent formological fallacy. And as I was summarising it, the guy in the background was going, "Yeah, it's exactly," while I'm, formalising it into the fallacy itself and explaining that it's a fallacy. He's like, "Yeah." It was comic. It was brilliant. Arwen, do you want to go first?
No.
We won't hear from Arwen. There's some very serious news about Arwen while he's away from the mic. You may not get to hear this. But once this live broadcast is over, if you're in the live audience on Quantum Eraser, be sure to tune into Ranty Flat Earth, as he's got some news in that regard. So you might want to tune in. It's gossip, but you'll enjoy it if you're enjoying Arwen. Go and subscribe today. But as he's disappeared, maybe Sleeping Warrior. Do you want to go next?
How many Doritos you got left?
Again, sorry.
Well, let me formulate my words. I was thinking about how to word this because I don't want to mix it all up. But
that was
the sun's in a...
Thank you, Anthony. Over to Paula. I'm only joking.
Yeah.
Just about to stab you in the face then with a metaphorical compass. Right. So not physical sun, right? Not known distance, not known position, not known effects on the atmosphere. The fact that it slows down as it gets towards the horizon as well, and it distorts its all shape out of all hell and back. What are we even looking at with the sun? The claim is that the sun doesn't change its apparent size. We don't even know what the sun does, because when you go up in high altitude balloon and look at the sun from a high altitude balloon footage, it doesn't look like the sun. It looks like a pinprick in the night sky, and we see it like a big yellow ball. It's not how it looks like when you go up high. Same for the moon. It looks like a pinprick. So it's like, what are we actually talking about with the sun? So forget the claim that they make. Demonstrate what the sun is. Demonstrate that it is physical, that it is actual, like, you know, something that we can actually do something with, because otherwise it's just, well, I don't know, it's an optical phenomena. That's the way I would describe it, and he's right.
Paula?
Yeah, I did a video some years ago, I think it's 2 years now, watching the sun. I'd been tracking it all summer, and it, as far as its four motions go, it's impossible for a physical object to do what it appears to be doing. So apparent anything, position or size, doesn't prove anything actual. So it's just, you know, all it takes is observation. That's what the first step of the scientific method is, and that's all I did, and said, okay, now that we've observed the sun has four motions and some of them are physically impossible, what do you want to do with that? That's where I leave it, because people can't even get past that one point, that this is an observation gives you results that are not physically possible. And then the next step would be to go and try to prove what's physically happening, which is pretty hard to do with something we can't reach and don't have any way of getting outside of the lens we're looking through, which is the atmosphere and all sorts of ever-changing conditions. I mean, it's pointless to try to even triangulate the thing, but, you know, even the heat from the sun can come and go, as far as, you know, how much, is there shade, is there wind, too many variables, and you just can't triangulate a position with too many variables, and that's just standard science.
Chocolate, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll say that I always love the argument of something that we don't actually know what it is, you know, and asking why does it change or not change its not actual size during the course of its not actual position during the course of the day. I mean, to me, it's just funny. And then it actually does, so that makes it even funnier. And then you have things where the sun, I mean, there's videos out there where you can see the sun turning into a little tiny dot and then disappearing. And then people like DITRH who have, you know, videos of it just fading out without even going, you know, under the horizon like they think it's supposed to happen. It's like, so what are we talking about? Like Riley said, what are we, you know?
What is the phenomenon we call the sun? What is it? Is it real? Is it tangible? Can we touch it? Is it a focal point of light? That's the way I see it. It looks like a focal point of light. It looks like we're the ant looking up on the underside of the magnifying glass that's receiving a focal point of light, and we're getting burnt underneath it just like the ant does. We've all done that as kids, right? That's how I see it.
Owen, you got stuff to add?
Well, yeah, you could compare. I like to compare it like looking into fiberglass, active fiberglass, you know, high-speed internet. It's just, you get blinded by looking straight down the line of the light. And that's just how it seems to me. So I think that the sun, what we see, is a side effect. And going on that train of thought, I think that everything else, the moon including, and even the weird planet sightings, how they look through telescopes, that it all does the same thing. It's all a unique property of looking directly towards the direction from where that light is coming from.
Let me just make comments about a bigger claim that the ballers are making at the minute that I've heard recently, and they say, explain a lunar eclipse on your model. They do that as though it's like this massive gotcha, right? And to them, it obviously seems that way. And it's like, okay, so what's the explanation for the lunar eclipse on our model? I think most people can say, well, we're not really sure because we don't have a model anyway. So we have the creative license to basically fantasize over what it could be. We don't really know what it is, right? But have a look at Raphael's Ephemeris. It's a publication every single year. And on the front page of every single publication, it talks about another celestial body that's not part of the heliocentric model. I don't know what it actually is. I've tried finding information out about it, but it's called the Black Moon. That would be the cause on our model for, or I would say, is a logical explanation for something that I can't even describe because there's no I haven't found any information on it. But there is another celestial body up there called the Black Moon. Whatever it is, how it interacts, I don't know. But it's documented every single year in Raphael's Ephemeris. That is a logical explanation for what causes the lunar eclipse on our model.
A trap.
I'm sick of this.
Into the trap I spoke about above.
So I will pass back to you, QE, before we move on about this particular point, and then we'll go to Discord, and then we'll move on with the presentation. But I just want to point something out, and I hope I'll phrase my words carefully, Paula, so it doesn't seem like I'm attacking you. But basically, you're my patsy. So when Paula described her observations of the sun, I'm just gonna have to clear my throat. When she described her observations of the sun, she said, well, I performed the first step of the scientific method. So we've immediately got Paula verbally alluding to science, right? Now that's my attack on their side. When astrophysicists use what we are now discussing, we're all theorizing in the colloquial sense of the word about what it might be. And, you know, we've got all sorts of good ideas about it being the end of a fibre optic cable and the channel of light coming down some sort of conduit from Arwin. And we've got old past observations that people have documented being brought up by Anthony and Paula's own observations herself, which is where I'm going to stay, about when Paula phrased it was about, like I say, she's got the first step, observe a phenomena, and Anthony asks, well, you know, what's the phenomena of the sun? Well, you've answered your own question. The phenomena is the sun. That is the phenomena. But what else have we got? We've loosely started to allude to science here. So what is science and what's its relation to this, and what's the branch that deals with it in modern society? Well, astrophysicists are the ones who are going to be looking at it, and they're going to be doing what Paula's done. Having a little look, observing a phenomena. Might be a black hole through their telescope. That's what they've named it with their astro-naming. That's their real name tag, naming things they see. But they're going to claim that they've got some sort of scientific validity. So have they actually done anything beyond step one of the scientific method when they look at the lights in the sky and track their paths and note their movements and get a good handle on how their cycles function? Well, no, they've only got step one, observation of phenomena, like the sun. Well, there's a phenomena. What would be the next step if you're going to apply any sort of scientific validity to assertions that you're going to make thereafter? Well, then you'd need to start. Go on, Chocolate.
Hypothesis.
Right, you'd formulate hypothesis. What's causing that effect? And what's the effect? The sun. That's going to be our effect in this instance. We're sciencing now, ladies and gentlemen. Yay, we've got a phenomena. Hooray! We've got half of a hypothesis already. We've got an observed phenomena.
Which will be your dependent variable.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a dependent variable up there. Isn't that amazing? Doesn't this all sound sciencey? Aren't we doing well? Maybe we should stop here and just start declaring that it's an optical fibre. No, we won't. We're gonna look for the other half. That other half, that critical bit of a scientific prediction known as a hypothesis. And what's that? Well, it's the independent variable, isn't it now? Our presumed cause of the effect. The effect being the sun, or Venus, or Mars, or a constellation. That's going to be our phenomena that we're observing, and we're going to figure out the cause. And then, once we've decided what's caused it, we're going to vary and manipulate that, and we're going to cause the sun. Oh no, we're not going to do that, are we? Shit. Maybe we should just make up a few stories about this stuff and then maybe apply some mathematics and say we're scientists, given that we can't go any further than half a hypothesis and observation of phenomena. Maybe we should make a whole branch and have universities dedicated to teaching people about what we spew about what those lights in the sky are with absolutely zero scientific validity whatsoever. Now, this is what we're fighting against. Men who have cameras and Hollywood production style methods of telling you what they say the lights in the sky are and the region that they're in, and astrophysicists who will observe and declare. This isn't science, this is pseudoscience. And that's what our world's based on. The stories of pseudoscientists and their observation of phenomena only. That's it. So while it should slightly sound like I'm throwing Paula under the bus because I'm using the way she did it, I know it wasn't intentionally in any way nefarious from Paula, but just by her phraseology, if you're a cursory listener and you hear Paula say, well, I've gone through step 1 of the scientific method, to a cursory listener, it's like, oh, right, she's sciencing then. No. And that's the problem, because that's what astrophysicists also do. Sorry, Paula.
Oh, no problem. Because the point being that I carefully said that's where I stopped. I did something that has to be the first step. I didn't say I'm doing a scientific experiment or providing a scientific proof. I just said I observed, and that's all I did. And that's all anyone can say about if they see things. It's just an observation. That's it.
No,
I'll give a shout out to a particular girl that I met in Liverpool recently who said that you don't even have to observe a natural phenomena to do science. And I was like, oh, really? So how are you going to get your dependent variable? Anyway, this conversation went on somewhat, and it became apparent to me that she didn't know what the presumed cause was, right? She had a degree in quantum mechanics and a post in, what was it now? Chemistry. And I asked her what was the definition for the independent variable. And she said, I said, it's the presumed cause, right? And she wouldn't agree. And she actually corrected me and she said, no, the presumed cause is the dependent variable. Now, this is a girl that's studying or has studied quantum mechanics at degree level and chemistry at post. She's done chemistry at postgraduate level and she doesn't know what an independent variable is. So what are we doing with these balls?
Right, Anthony, you're going to get rumpus because I can just hear Quantum Eraser choking on food as you're saying this. You're going to have to give him a gap to get in and say something at this stage. I'm sorry.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
That's what it was. Honest to God, it was embarrassing, but shout out to that girl who thought that the independent variable, the presumed cause in an experiment, was
I'm sorry, Anthony.
variable.
I'm sorry. I thought we'd get more than just him coughing and saying bullshit. So we discussed this on the pre-show. At that point, she exposed herself as a pretender clown.
Yes. It was over everything she said before. The presumed cause of the dependent variable and everything that came out of her pie hole after is nonsense. I would have just walked away. I know Anthony couldn't do that because he wanted to take her through the freaking grinding mill. But to me, everything was a joke after that, right? It was all academic.
Yeah. But don't forget who my target audience is. I mean, all the time and effort we put into the debate show to learn how to dismantle these arguments, I realised that was 2 hours of my life wasted talking to those morons who probably won't think twice about laughing at me when they walk off. But the reality is, they were dismantled, and we can dismantle them by applying scientific method. Because if it's not complying with scientific method, by definition, it's pseudoscience. And if you want to believe in pseudoscience, that's up to you. But if you're going to come and preach that verbal diarrhea to us in the shape of the Earth context, it's absolutely up to us to challenge it, question it, and dismantle it piece by piece. What's your observed phenomena? What's your independent variable? What's your dependent variable? How did you demonstrate, prove cause and effect? And they can't do it because anything outside the Earth is just nonsense.
I want to say the mics are open in Discord. Make sure that anybody who's just joined has got their mic free. Looks like everybody has.
Hey, are you gonna not let me punk Anthony out?
Well, you took your opportunity to just cough and go bullshit. But yeah, if you want, but you might get interrupted by someone on Discord. Feel free to. I just want to, just before you do, the subject in regards to Discord, we're talking about why does the not actual size of the sun not change its not actual size as it moves from its not actual position. Maybe we'll just get that back on the rails. I know that there's a bit of scientific method being taught because we noted things that are in the sky and how science is applied, but that was kind of how we started, and I'm hoping that we'll get some opinions from Discord. Go ahead, QE.
My word. 20 minutes later, I popped up. I just want to, just very brief and concise, Anthony said that do you hear one of the arguments now on the circuit is they're asking us to explain a lunar eclipse. Well, didn't we just go over that with my first point about not explaining their claims to them? I don't know. I don't remember making a claim about a lunar eclipse, so why do I have to explain it to you? Right? That's all I had.
It's because we have a deep fascination with it ourselves. We want answers by our very nature. When things that were formerly explained are no longer explained, we look to others who have taken it away for the answers. You know, me, I just laugh. I just normally describe something quite disgusting in a toilet function in regards to what I'm doing to their religion, and then move on laughing, because it's not my responsibility. I can just pull apart the rhetoric and how it doesn't work. There's only a necessity for me to pull apart the claims that are made in their regard. And what QE is saying to Sleeping Warrior is, don't fall into the trap of explaining their claims for you. So the example on the debate was a guy the other day who came in and said his example was tectonic plates as his proof of being on a sphere, and his only actual claim was to ask us how it's explained on a flat Earth. So when you get into pulling apart what they're actually claiming, it's a very strong phraseology or wording when you say, what actually is your claim? Oh, right, the lunar eclipse. What's your actual claim? And let them go through how they use their model and assume the outcome and all that stuff. Let them get it all off their chest, and then just point out how it proves nothing, how they're wrong, how they've affirmed the consequent or begged the question, or most of the time both. Anybody on Discord got anything to add in this regards? Anybody feel the sun is an excellent proof of something heliocentric? Or maybe you got any questions in regards to some of the presentation thus far? Anybody at all? Travis, I can see you flashing. Maybe I haven't got you off server mute if you've just come in. Yes.
No, I had a question for Riley. How did you come up with this black moon thing that you was talking about?
I didn't come up with it. It's documented in every year. There's an annual called Raphael's Ephemeris. You can buy it on Amazon. It's about £9 or $12 a year. And on the front page, it documents this black moon called Lilith. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see the lunar eclipse, it does look like a black object might be passing in front of it. They tell us it's the Earth's shadow, but they can't prove that it's the Earth's shadow. But they tell us it is because it kind of does look like it. But you can equally interpret that also might be a black celestial body moving in front of it too. And we know that the distances involved are questionable. We know that shadows can't be cast of smaller the size than what they actually are, the body that's casting it. And it just makes logical sense that another celestial body might be causing that phenomena that we see. And there is another celestial body up there called the Black Moon, and it's documented every year. I don't know what it is, but it is there. They know about it, and they can track it. So I don't know. Look into it. I don't know what to say about it other than it is documented.
Okay, that's interesting. I appreciate your answer.
Did you have something you wanted to add, Travis? I saw you flashing, but I hadn't got you off server mute quick enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just prepared to say that there was a couple Globers in here. And yeah, Lilith, I've heard Arwen discuss Lilith as well here and there. Pretty interesting. I'll have to check into that too. Also, I missed the first half of the show, but a lot of the things that we run into in the Discord chats and server chats and stuff are in big regards to the distance of objects, right? You're talking about Venus, you're talking about the sun. And I recall QE having a citation somewhere. It was in one of the presentations. I believe it was like Big Bang or something, but it was in regards to the triangulation, you know, when they have like 3 points or 2 points that are, you know, a certain distance away from each other, and then they're using those 2 points, and with the angle, they're able to establish where they think the third point is. And there is a citation. Sorry to run on about this, but there's a citation QE gave from some gentleman, basically stating that if your points that you're triangulating from are way out of you know, if you got like one that's like a presumed a couple thousand miles, and then you're shooting at one, or you're trying to check one that's, you're saying is, a couple light years away. It's not accurate. Does anybody read that?
I think I was talking about trigonometric parallax, where they're assuming a spherical trig, because you got a couple types of trig here. You got spherical and planar, right? That was the big one where I exposed that one clown on Discord.
Yeah, and it had you had a citation basically saying that, if your scale, that's what I was trying to think of the word scale. If your scale is way out, then it's not going to be accurate. And that's what the Glovers absolutely, that's a foundation right there of their celestial observations.
Yeah, they also use redshift for distance, but I clobbered that about 2.5 years ago. I think I'm going to do a new presentation on that coming up, maybe in October. I'm going to run the old one and then probably do another one in October. So stay tuned to Quantum Eraser channel. Be here, be sphere.
Is there anything else anybody from Discord wanted to add on this subject?
Thanks for taking my question.
Go ahead, whoever that was.
He said thanks for taking his question, Nathan.
Oh, right, yeah, no worries. We move on?
Yes, sir. Tell me when it's up.
Yep, you're up.
So, this disheveled monkey, the Earth's rotating slower than your hour hand on your clock, right? Now, I dedicated this to Mr. Natural Experiment Burns humping Jim Panda, but I shouldn't leave it at his doorstep. This was going on long before he arrived on the scene and gets parroted incessantly by friggin' crayon munchers. And it was brought up this very week on the show. So, listen, we're dealing with apples and friggin' orangutans here. RPMs versus speed, people. You don't measure speed or rate by angular velocity, that is revolutions. Next block of instructions, how to say the on Tuesdays. It's all in the units of measures, folks. Speed, distance per unit time, that's miles per hour or kilometers per hour. And angular velocity is revolutions per unit time. Revolutions per second, per minute, per day, per week, per month, per year, on and on. Distance equals revolutions like gazelle equals hubcap. Right? Just a clumsy, daft, Muppet false equivalence fallacy. Like I said, RPMs are utterly irrelevant and meaningless red herring fallacy to the discussion. We're talking about tangential speed. You don't measure speed or rate by revolutions. All points, this is very important, listen closely. All points on a rotating sphere have the same angular velocity. However, those same points do not have the same rate or speed. The miles per hour, kilometers per hour, the tangential speed. Number one, it's tantamount to exclaiming to Dale Earnhardt Jr. on a 50-mile track, "Why was your car smashed to smithereens, Dale? You were only doing one revolution every 25 minutes. Big clown. Number two, when they report the speed or rate of the cars racing around the Brickyard 400, do they report it in RPMs? How about drag races like quarter mile? Since there are no revolutions, then according to BALLBUSTER's crayon munching logic, the dragster's rate or speed has to be 0. When a cop pulls you over for speeding, does he tell you how many RPMs you were going over the RPM limit? This juvenile, mind-numbing absurdity is insulting to actual juvenile, mind-numbing absurdities. Questions, comments?
Oh, just as I was telling somebody to ask us, somebody's apparently posted something in the Discord live stream if anyone wants to have a glance at this. Yeah, where you start with Arwin?
No. Sorry, I'm very distracted today.
That's okay. Chocolate?
No, I'll just say that I find it hilarious when they try to equate the one revolution of the Earth in one day, like, oh, it's just very slow because it's one revolution a day. Like, no, it's 1,000 miles per hour according to your model. That's not slow. And it's completely different than saying it just goes around once a day. It's ridiculous.
Right, mixing up RPM with MPH. Betty, I was about to say Betty. Betty's not even here. Paula.
Yeah, I always like to use the illustration of the skaters. You know, they go every skating show you've ever seen. They have to do that thing where they get it all in the line and start rotating the whole line, right? And the people on the inside barely have to move, but the people on the ends of the lines have to skate as fast as they possibly can. So if revolutions don't have any relation to speed at any particular point, then everybody, all the skaters should be able to just stand there and have the thing rotate. But that obviously isn't the case. So I don't know how, with the racetrack or the skaters, how it can be made any more clear. I really don't.
Right. The outside edge of the wheel moves faster than the inside edge of the wheel in miles per hour, but the RPM doesn't change. So these two things are not the same. It's just a clumsy way of saying, no, it's really slow. No, it's claimed to be going at a ludicrous speed. Anyway. Sleeping Warrior?
Ludicrous speed.
No, I'm good. I'm sidetracked at the minute.
Is everyone in the chat by chance?
You too?
Chocolate, did we get anything from you? Not Discord server?
Are the Doritos that good?
Doritos.
Well, I could add something a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe in retrospect about the Foucault pendulum, right? Yeah, the whole idea that there's supposed to be some kind of deviation.
That's the next topic.
Oh, sorry. I am really...
At least you're on the ball, Owen. You're obviously, great minds and all that. The mics are open in Discord if you want to add anything. Joe B, is it flashing? Share your pain. No takers. I think we're going to move on pretty swiftly. Go ahead.
Taker for what? What?
You've not been keeping up. Oh my god, they're asking me to answer something. It's okay, don't worry. If you've got nothing to add, it's okay.
Too funny. Wait for the after show.
Okay. Right, let's stick you back on screen and we'll move on.
Tell me when it's up.
Hold that thought, by the way, Arwin. Right, yes, you're up on screen, QE.
All right, I couldn't let this go without the Foucault pendulum, right? So this is from plusmass.org. So listen to what they say. Once you set one in motion, its direction of swing will rotate at a rate of about 0.2 degrees every minute. But in fact, it isn't really the pendulum that's rotating. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. It's the Earth, which is rotating underneath the pendulum, which makes it appear that the pendulum is in fact changing directions. Well, folks, if this nonsensical buffoonery is true, then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? See the connection? If this is true, right? If that's true, then this must logically follow.
Say it slower. Just say it slower. You said it, I know it's the most important line. You just had it highlighted. Just say it slower once more.
Which one?
This is true. Then we could just hover in a helicopter. Yeah, you say it. I want you.
Okay. Yeah. Again, if this is true up here, right? Then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? This is, like I said, if this is true, then this logically follows. It's just that simple. If the Foucault pendulum is legit, which denotes two separate reference frames, right? We already identified the two separate reference frames, correct? The pendulum is swinging back and forth, and it's the Earth rotating underneath it. So it's got to be two separate reference frames. Then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles nonstop, traveling at 500 miles per hour airspeed, with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude. That is both allegedly spinning at 860 miles per hour. It should be 1.5 hours, but the flight time is 4.5 hours. Airspeed 500 miles an hour, ground speed 500 miles an hour. Plus, you have to take the 860 mile per hour rotation speed. You're flying west. The Earth is spinning from west to east. It's coming at you at 860 miles an hour ground speed. You have to add your airspeed, 500 miles an hour. This is too simple. So you total that, it's 1,360 miles an hour. Too easy. Distance between Charlotte, North Carolina and LAX is 2,115 miles. The flight time must be 1.5 hours. Actual flight time, it's approximately 4.5 hours. Now, does this 1.5 hour flight time ever happen? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Does it ever happen? Nope. Then say bye-bye now to your spinning space monkey religion. It's just that simple. Questions, comments?
No, it never happens. No, Earth isn't rotating underneath. No, the claim of gyroscopes and pendulums proving we have two reference frames with Earth rotating underneath is totally bunk. Because if it was, then a helicopter could just hover and, oh no, it's coming right for us, the continent that we want to travel to. No, that doesn't happen. Drones can hover, helicopters can hover, and planes do not take 1.5 hours when travelling from Charlotte to North Carolina to LA with the Earth rotating underneath, because it doesn't.
Right. And those are actually objects that aren't fixed.
Sorry, go on, Owen.
Shout out to the Pontiff Maximus, who says that QE still doesn't understand relative velocities.
Shout out retracted.
Thank you.
Right. If I may make my point now about the whole Foucault pendulum. Stop swinging the chat around. QE. So, yeah. With the airplanes and the helicopter, it's much more apparent that, yeah, they should have some kind of deviation if there were to be Coriolis, because the air was not moving with the rotation of the Earth, all that. But with the pendulum, it's literally fixed to the Earth, the entire thing. So if they then presume that in that situation, in a fixed to the Earth situation, there would be an influence because of the spin, that would mean that if that could be visible somehow, that there would be a force somehow in some way introduced to a normal stationary trajectory from the pendulum. So what is the deviation that's actually persistent there? Because there is none. There never is. It never pushes irregularly to one way. It just goes around and around and around exactly as it was introduced, as it was let go.
Yeah.
And it'll follow that pattern very stably. No
correct,
persistent deviation in any singular direction or of any kind.
Correction, Owen. You're correct, because you're summarising how they get it to spin around. But that's not what it's claimed to be doing. It's claimed to be swinging back and forth in a straight line. A pendulum, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But because the Earth's rotating underneath, you see the apparent deviation in the pendulum, and it knocks over the dominoes. So while you're saying, no, it only swings around because of the way they let go, yes, exactly, this nonsense claim of two reference frames with a pendulum, half the time they let it go, and the problem is it does just swing back and forth. So they have to get it back to the starting point and re-release it to get it to swing around and around, showing this claim to be apparent deviation of Earth rotating underneath. But the point of the demonstration is that it's not supposed to be swinging around. What you're observing is an apparent deviation. It's apparently swinging around because it's actually a pendulum just going back and forth with the Earth rotating underneath.
Well, it would be part of the Earth since it would be fixed to the Earth. So it wouldn't technically even be able to rotate underneath. But there's claimed to be some kind of influence.
On top of being fixed to the Earth, though, doesn't it have to be started to even start moving? I mean, what is it supposed to be proving at that point?
Well, you know what I think it really is doing? What they really mean to do with it is to make people imagine the separate reference frame of the Earth spinning underneath. That it's more a practice to visualize this rather than actually make a physical point.
Right, well done, Arwen, because I thought you were going to go off into the weeds about what the pendulum does or how it works, which is irrelevant. If the pendulum is claimed to show that the Earth's rotating underneath, and it absolutely is, that's the point of it, then the Earth is spinning underneath the planes from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA, and they'd take an hour and a half.
The helicopters, the football, the bullets, everything. It would have to work underneath everything, just like that. Can't pick and choose what it's going to rotate underneath or not. That's nonsense.
Sleeping Warrior?
I'm sorry, I'm still sidetracked if I'm honest.
That's okay. Paula?
No, not really. It's just we've gone over that many times, in other Ballbusters about all of those things. I can't think of anything else to say about it.
Fair enough. Anybody in Discord got anything to add?
I got an addendum.
Hold on, Owen. Hold on. Anybody? Joby?
George Natnuke sure has a lot to say from chat. Courage to join.
Yep.
Well, listen, the clown's already been toe tagged a number of times. George, the dog is smarter than you, okay?
Other than pointing out the rumblings from the peanut gallery, is there anything in regards to the assertions that have just been made in the presentation from Discord? Alrighty then. Is there any more for any more? Presumably that's not the end of the presentation, right?
Can I make my point?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, my bad, Arwen. Yes, go ahead.
Right, I just wanted to add up on...
Arwen, I'm just letting you know I'm on mute.
I'm on mute too.
Good for you. Yeah. Very, very funny. I'm
on mute.
The whole system of what it's supposed to be doing, and you're already basically stating, okay, the pendulum is not doing anything. Well, maybe the whole pendulum and what it always tends to look like, which is a huge ball hanging by some wire. Well, maybe the practice really is more about just trying to visualize that ball hanging inside some kind of space, rather than make an actual physical point.
I understand.
Maybe that's really what the core of the entire thing is, primarily. So, yeah.
Okay, I've got your presentation back up.
All right, we're ready to go for this one. This is going to be a short one. I wanted to take a break here for a second before I get to a couple ones I'm really stoked about, man. But this is a pretty good one. Let's check this out. So everyone's seen the Neil deGrasse Tyson, smoking deGrasse Tyson, talking about the Felix Baumgartner 128,000 feet jump. I think everyone pretty much now has seen that video. I'm not going to play it because they got the copyright strike bug out. I'm going to wait till that cools down. But I know everyone's pretty much seen it. So there's no observable curvature at 128,000 feet. Yet you bozos claim there is observable curvature standing on the ground. Can you explain that one to us? It doesn't make any damn sense. It's one of the more belly-laughing, slap-in-the-face contradictions out there. I mean, is your clinical level Dunning-Kruger so virulent that you think even people that have trouble fogging a mirror don't see or recognize this? You clowns feebly try to. This is what they do. If you bring up Neil deGrasse or smoking deGrasse Tyson around them, they throw him right under the bus now, man. It cracks me up when they try to distance themselves from the astrophysicist smoking deGrasse Tyson. He's unquestionably and unequivocally a spokesman and priest, a scientist to you clowns for your BALLBUSTERS spinning space monkey religion. So no throwing them under the bus. Okay? Quick comments on this one, then we'll move to the couple juggernauts below.
Yeah, shout out to Red Pill Philosophy, who actually mirrored Sleeping Warrior's little discourse that we talked about earlier. But he uses that little snippet. That stuff is flat. We start with Paula?
Yeah, it's funny how they do throw him under the bus, or anybody else they would throw under if they become an embarrassment, which, I don't know, I think happened a long time ago, but that's what they do. That's what, it's just a human thing to do. There's no, we can't, be embarrassed by someone whose argument has obviously been debunked, or claims, I shouldn't say argument. So they'll just go on to the next white, priest in white lab coats, and that's what people do. But other than that, nope, not really anything to add.
Chocolate, I heard you make some rumblings just at the start there. Do you want to go next?
Nah, I love it. I love how the ballers have now thrown Neil smoking the grass under the bus. I mean, they don't like the things that he says because he's going against their very model, the very things that they say. I mean, sure, he thinks we live on a ball. That's fine, but I mean, the guy says 128,000 feet. You can't see any curvature. So how are we seeing boats disappear 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles? Like, it's ridiculous. And they just throw him under the bus. Like, he's not one of their priests, their scientists who's out here touting this mainstream science to everybody. And they just come in here and say, oh, he's a joke. Well, he's the guy out there spouting your religion. So maybe you should take up your arguments with him.
Armin?
This is news to me that everybody's supposedly throwing him under the bus, but yeah, I don't know, he's just one of these storytellers, and I guess that the media deals with them like they deal with things politically typically, and just say, oh yeah, he's what we need. He tells a good story, and yeah, he'll tell it right until something messes up and then just put in the background. And I don't know. I think on the long run, they'll not really matter that much. They're just media puppets.
Sleeping Warrior, got anything to add?
Great though, is that he'll say things like.
No, go on, Chocolate.
No, like I think about when they asked him, what's gravity, and he was like, we don't know. Next question. Things like that. Then you have George Mooser being asked, by Fight the Flat Earth, so we don't know the cause of gravity. Oh, no, we don't know the cause. So these guys who are in the quote unquote scientific community, these guys are supposed to know all this stuff, and they say they don't know. But then we get guys who come in here and tell us that, gravity is this, gravity is that. It's still a force because I don't understand. Bending of space-time, it is a force, it's not a force. It's like, guys, are you guys not all on the same page? With Rumpus telling people, oh, we have to stop the physicists from telling people that gravity is not a force. Like, it's all a big mess for as far as I'm concerned when I look at their arguments, especially for gravity, Coriolis. Like, it's nonsense.
Oh, I do want to address what Arwen said a minute ago, how he doesn't appreciate why they'd throw him under the bus. But before I do, Sleeping Warrior, have you got anything to add?
Shout out to Red Pill Philosophy for mirroring the video. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on Jason of the Disbury Family on my channel and on Red Pill Philosophy channel, and just go and put a like on it because it's definitely getting a lot of views, that one, because it's an instant classic, and that's what I was sidetracked with. I was looking at all the new subs and the new comments on both videos. Really, really good video. So, when Rumpus says about we need to get physicists to stop mentioning that gravity is not a force, just type in Google, is gravity a force? And look at how many citations you can find where all of them say gravity is not a force. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it's not a force. And in the context of the atmosphere sticking to the Earth rather than bursting into the void of space, they really need something, right? Even though the gravitational force wouldn't stop it anyway, they need something in their minds to satisfy themselves, because this is where it's going to be lost. This is where most ballers should say, yeah, what is stopping the atmosphere from bursting into space? And there isn't anything. So even if it was there, it wasn't going to stop it anyway. But the fact that it's not there should be enough for them to go, hey, maybe there is something to this point. All the protagonists on their side really won't do, but just bear it in mind, it's a killer.
So we will get some comments from Discord in a moment, but yeah, obviously, Arwin, with people like Red Pill Philosophy using that quote, well, the end part of the quote that Quantum Eraser used about it being flat from the highest of altitudes, and us using Neil deGrasse Tyson to explain how Coriolis is claimed by the globe side to prove Earth is spinning underneath. The spinning underneath bit is the proof that it's spinning, and that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson would assert when he says a field goal went in because Earth spun underneath in a tweet that he sent. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing for speed. But yeah, it's pretty easy to recognise why you would want to throw someone under the bus if you're somebody who's asserting that Earth and atmosphere travel as one, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's making it plain that it doesn't, because that's the thing that's actually used to prove it's spinning. They're going against it in their double-speak rhetoric and have to throw him under the bus in doing so.
Right, so technically, if you really look at the bigger picture, then Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually being more careful on the long run than the over-enthusiastic shameless ballers currently.
Well,
Go anywhere, any level of doublespeak in your face.
Well, he's quoting the correct rhetoric. They've got to fly against it because it obviously doesn't demonstrate that in the reality of the world we actually live in. It can be claimed with a very short hang time of a football or a bullet, and no one's going to be able to double check that, right? But then when you take the actual implications of what is required to cause that ball to drift, apparently, from the stands, when observing in the inertial reference frame, well, what's causing that to drift? Well, it's the Earth spinning underneath the ball. And spinning underneath the aeroplane? No, it doesn't do that. But he can get away with it when there's no one there to challenge him, and he can just talk about it with a sympathetic interviewer when it comes up on mainstream TV. But if you're George Netanyahu in the trenches with us, and he's saying, no, it travels as one, well, that's not what Neil deGrasse Tyson's saying, and he's on TV. Surely he's a bigger priest than you, moron, Fundy. Well, no, that's why they've got to throw him under the bus. Sorry, go ahead, Chocolate.
I think we have a ray of light about to shine on us. Shout out to Bob, the fallacy guy, who says he's going to make a video on Coriolis.
Oh yeah, we look forward to pulling it apart. Why? Let's save him the effort, man. Why spend 2 or 3 hours editing together a video when we're going to pull it apart in about 15 seconds based on the fallacy you use? Anyway, is there anyone
with one question?
I was going to say, don't bother watching the content of his video. Just count the fallacies.
Mr. on Terrace.
Anybody in Discord got anything to add? We're talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson and having to throw him under the bus if you're a baller because he basically states the actual rhetoric you should be arguing rather than the bullshit doublespeak you do argue. Any comments?
Nope.
I'm asking Discord.
I totally
I'm asking Discord.
Right, and my name is not Discord.
Definitely not.
Perhaps
it's always so quiet there.
Perhaps you could come up with a method for how it might work on their model, Arwin. This is the time when you can do that, not in the middle of a debate.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that without getting some serious NASA money for that, okay?
They'll do it in the middle of a debate and we'll just try to kill someone.
I know how to explain this very awkward position you fundies find yourself in now. Ding, 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 I want pain. That's how I know how to explain this problem away. When normally it's a bugger, right? Because it's normally when we've got someone over a barrel / holding their toes to the fire, and Arwen will be there while there's the tense moment going, I can solve this little problem for cold hard cash.
Oh, by the way, at 10 o'clock in 20 minutes from now, we're going to be wrapped up by that point. But Ranty, when he goes live, he's giving away a P900. So if you've not got a P900 and you've wanted one, he's giving one away. I'm not sure what that's all about, but shout out and kudos to Ranty for giving away the camera that was gifted to him from a GoFundMe. Oh no, he didn't get it on that one. He got it on the P1000. But anyway, he's giving one away. So shout outs for that one.
I've just spammed the link to Ranty Flat Earth's channel, so go and check out Ranty Flat Earth's channel. It'll start, hopefully, if we've timed this well, just after this live stream finishes. So I will say at this point, though, if you're watching this on my channel, don't go anywhere, because there's going to be after shows and stuff. But if you're watching live on Quantum Eraser right now, when this finishes, hopefully, if we've timed it well, go to Ranty Flat Earth's channel. Typically, there'd be a debate running, but now there won't be, because Ranty's got big news. So definitely go and check out Ranty Flat Earth, Be Here, or Be Sphere once this live stream is over. So I've left the mic open the whole time for Discord to interrupt any of that with anything they wanted to add, and they haven't. So is there nothing from Discord? If not, we're going to move on with the presentation.
Yeah. I've got something, Nathan.
Go ahead, Paige.
Oh, awesome. Is QE there?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, when I started looking at diffraction, is that what you use for your natural observed phenomenon for the double split? Double slit.
It's not the double split. It's the double slit experiment.
I corrected myself.
Diffraction is the observed phenomena, but that's off topic for right now.
Can this hold? Can this hold just till the end of the presentation? We will talk about it. We're not going to fob you off, I promise. But it's just so it's on topic for the presentation. Once it's rounded out, it's free for all.
No worries.
Anybody else got anything on topic regards smoking deGrasse Tyson?
Really put him under the bus. I don't pay attention to everything he says, but I do like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I just don't throw him under. I don't think all Globers throw him under the bus. That's all I want to add.
You'd agree with him when he says that a football has gone through the goalposts because Earth rotated underneath. You'd agree with him on that score, would you, Virus?
I do, but his numbers was off. Since he was doing it basically in his head, his numbers was like off a lot.
I didn't ask about the numbers, just the cause that he asserted, i.e. that Earth rotates underneath that football. You'd agree with him on that?
I guess so. I never really put no thought into it that much, but I guess so.
You guess so?
What numbers were off? The Earth rotation numbers? Like he didn't carry the one? Like what? I don't understand.
No, he said something about like 0.5 when it really should have been like 0.15 once you
the whole point is though was the Earth actually rotating underneath that football? Whether he carried the one or not, is the Earth rotating under the football?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, that's a shame because we.
Oh, it is.
You see, the problem is if Earth rotates underneath the football when it's kicked, it also rotates underneath the drone when it leaves the rotational frame of reference, i.e., the claim to be spinning ball Earth. So a drone, you could just push the up stick and watch it drift, or a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina, could take off with Earth rotating underneath and arrive in LA 1.5 hours later, because to have that effect described by Smoking deGrasse, completely incorrect, definitely not proving Earth spins Tyson, is having the Earth spin underneath the ball and the helicopter and the drone and the plane that doesn't take 1.5 hours to get to LA from Charlotte, North Carolina, Virus. So do you still agree with him?
Whatever you want.
Just asking now.
No, whatever you want.
I'm just asking now, given that we assert that people would throw him under the bus, given that we've absolutely pummeled that claim by Neil deGrasse Tyson, the true claim, the rhetoric claim, the fundamentalist zealot claim of the globe, do you still agree with him, given that we've just pummeled that?
Whatever you want, Nathan. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm not making no claims.
I'm asking if you agree with Smoking deGrasse Tyson when he asserts Earth spins underneath the football. Still, even though we pummeled it just 10 seconds ago. You seem hesitant to answer.
That's fine. You okay? I'm not making no claims.
You hesitant to answer. A minute ago, sure. Yeah, sure, I agree with him. Now, I'm not making any claims. Bit more cagey about the whole thing, eh, Virus?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think we can move on. Right, got your presentation back up, QE.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm stoked, man. So the Horse Pucky ISS. I'm gonna take a little mosey down memory lane for my together. I'll tell you what, it was a couple weeks after I entered the flat Earth, and I found it last month. I was just going through my stuff and I found it. So it's really cool. I like it. So see if you can follow. You gotta understand.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Someone's got their mic open. It's clipping you for some reason.
Man.
Maybe Arwin or Anthony. Just pop yourselves on mute if you don't mind.
On mute.
Okay, keep it easy. I'll keep control. It's all good. Take a breath. Count to 5.
I'm always on mute, except when I'm not. Going back on mute.
I'm on mute.
I am on mute as well.
Please continue, QE.
All right, like I said, the Horse Pucky ISS. This is a little different angle. I want you guys to follow me. So understand something. I got the heliocentric ball on the stand, and I'm the prosecutor. So I'm taking their story. I'm gonna eviscerate it. Okay, but you got to follow along with me. Hopefully, you think that you'll think it's as cool as I think it is. So, and I always like the thermosphere because I like it hot. So from Space Place at NASA, the thermosphere is the home to the International Space Station as it orbits the Earth. We all know this. I just wanted to cite it here just for technical reasons, Judge. From the University of California, the thermosphere is directly above the mesosphere and below the exosphere. It extends from about 90 kilometers, that's 56 miles, to between 500 and 1,000 kilometers. That's 311 to 621 miles above our planet. Okay? Everyone's got those facts at hand. So, the ISS is made out of an aluminum alloy, 2219-T62. Robert Frost. This is from Robert Frost, instructor and flight controller in the Flight Operations Directorate at NASA, Your Honor. The most common material is 2219-T62 aluminum alloy. Most of the ISS structure is aluminum. In fact, the node modules were each made from single blocks of aluminum. So we got those facts, right? Following along. Aluminum 2219-T62 from the matweb.com. Melting temperature is 1,010 degrees to 1,190 degrees Fahrenheit. From NASA, the thermosphere lies between the exosphere and the mesosphere. Like I said above, thermo means heat, and the temperature in this layer can reach up to 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Are you seeing the problem yet? It's in fuego, man. Aluminum 2219-T62 melting temperatures, like I said, 1010 to 1190 Fahrenheit. The thermosphere is 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit. See the problem yet? Spinning space monkey parroting clowns? You see, the heat in the thermosphere is due to solar radiation. Yeah, it's cool because there's little or no convection. We know the little parrot story you got. Due to the sparseness of gas molecules. But the ISS isn't made of gas molecules. It's made out of aluminum. Conduction, anyone? And is getting bombarded by the full spectrum of solar radiation, including X-rays, extreme UV, galactic cosmic rays, aurora particles, and solar protons, all of which we are protected against via the atmosphere from their story. So from the Alma Mater Wiki, thermospheric temperatures increase with altitude due to, this is why the thermosphere is so hot, absorption of highly energetic solar radiation. That's the reason why it's so hot up there. Now, you're not going to feel it because the molecules are spread out. But who really cares? Because we're talking about aluminum. From sciencing.com, the source of the thermosphere's heat is radiation emitted by the sun. The thermosphere absorbs much of the radiation that Earth receives from the sun, leaving only a fraction to actually reach the surface. Ultraviolet radiation, visible light, and high-energy gamma radiation are all absorbed by the thermosphere, which causes the few particles present to heat up considerably, like I was saying. Now, after you corner the crayon munchers with the belly laugher above that we just went through, they invariably bumble, fumble, and stumble with what? But they have shielding and they have reflectors, right? The ISS is powered by solar arrays. They are made from purified silicon. From NASA, Your Honor. Solar arrays that convert energy to electricity on the International Space Station are made out of thousands of solar cells, made from purified chunks of the element silicon. These cells directly convert light to electricity using a process called photovoltaics. You guys following me up now? That's purified silicon up there. Remember, we're talking about reflectors, right? And shielding. The silicon melting point is 2577 Fahrenheit. But as we already know, the thermosphere is 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit, right? It can get up to those temperatures. So, Your Honor, any claim of shielding or reflectors is horse-pucky bollocks. Because why? You don't shield solar arrays. Turn out the lights, party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. Party's over, clowns. This is just all nonsensical whistling past the graveyard baloney anyway. Every single one of their claims about space, that is the vacuum of space, is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. We're just busting low-hanging fruit. Questions, comments?
I'm going to open the mic immediately on Discord rather than getting lost in the weeds in between what you've just said and their reaction. Anybody for anybody. Yeah, you're paying.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
This is Flubber. Hi, good afternoon, good evening.
Hey,
how's everyone doing?
Very well. What's your question?
What's up, man?
So what makes you think that the ISS would actually reach that temperature in the thermosphere?
What makes you think the ISS is actually up there in a medium that can't exist?
No, we're talking about the point that he just presented, not something else. Let's stay on point. He said that the ISS would reach that temperature in the thermosphere.
Presentation clown show. Why do I think? Because the temperatures in the thermosphere reach that amount. Why? Because of solar radiation. I just had 10 citations tell you that. That's why I think it.
No. I understand that. Why do you think the ISS would equilibrate with that temperature of the thermosphere?
Equilibrate because the things that's causing the thermosphere to be so hot for the 10th time is solar radiation. So solar radiation is hitting the ISS. Is this getting through? You're feeling
What angle is it hitting the ISS?
Oh, give me a break with your friggin' angle.
You realize this is the.
Let me ask you
just before you ask something else. Sorry, just
Let's
to summarize.
Say that you're standing outside.
Question, sorry to interrupt you, but just to summarize that last point, this is your rhetoric. He's explaining what they say it is and how hot it is where they say it is. It's not him claiming that's what's actually happening. You realize
No,
that?
he's reaching a conclusion from that information that I think is incorrect. I'm trying to illustrate that.
Really? Please tell us how. The water
Yeah, sure.
is 4,500
let me give you an analogy.
Fahrenheit. You're in the water. You're saying that you don't reach 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what you're saying. Please explain that to us.
Sure. I'll explain it to you. So imagine that you're standing outside and it's a nice day. It's 70 degrees and there's just a gentle breeze. And you take a little BB, small, and you put it in the fire. And you take it out of the fire and you put it on your hand. Is your whole hand going to reach the temperature of the BB?
False equivalence fallacy. The BB is going to be 4,500, right? And the ISS isn't a friggin' BB, you clown.
No, not in my analogy. In my analogy, the BB is the thermosphere.
I'm not putting the ISS in my hand. Where are you, some type of retard or something?
And there are supposed to be people in that
BB hard to understand?
in space. So yeah,
reach that temperature.
Because that's what the rhetoric says. The temperature is. What do you want?
That's what the temperature of the gas is, but that's not the only temperature it's connected to thermodynamically.
Right, Al.
Thermodynamically, get the fuck. Have you got an argument?
Yeah, you talked about second law of thermodynamics, right? So do you know the other laws of thermodynamics?
He's actually right.
Good point.
He's actually right.
Don't worry about that. That's a common.
If you're going to cite thermodynamics, then you also can't dismiss it when I bring it up.
So explain to us. Hold on, QE. Hold on, QE. Hold on. So
there's other modes of heat transfer.
I wasn't clearing the airways for you. I was clearing them for me.
No, I want to interrupt.
Oh my God, Arwen, you're not helping. Excuse me. Can you Jesus wept! Excuse me. Can you please summarize precisely what it is about the laws of thermodynamics in this exact scenario with the simple quoted rhetoric of what's happening where, according to the BALLBUSTERS, the citations that have been presented? Explain how that would differ from it just being what they say it is.
Yeah, so the temperature of the gas molecules at that layer of the atmosphere is that temperature, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the entire ISS will be heated to that temperature. Because
don't just appeal to it might not fucking be that. Tell us why, you brain dead retard.
I am telling you why, because...
No, you said it just doesn't mean that it could be that not temperature. That means nothing. You haven't given us any cowbell. You haven't explained why. You haven't applied second law of thermodynamics or the first law or any law. So don't just repeat your claim that it could possibly not be that. Tell us why. Preferably with thermodynamic laws applied. I haven't finished berating you, so shut up. Preferably with thermodynamic laws applied to your explanation. Not it just doesn't necessarily mean it. That's useless.
I didn't say necessarily anything. I'm telling you that the analogy is going to explain this to you. And if you're going to cite thermodynamics, then I get to use them just as well.
Don't use the analogy. Why are the molecules in the thermosphere that hot? Why?
I would trust the citation that you had.
Well, they're saying that the temperature is said they are, so you've got absolutely no argument then. Oh, God, moving on. Any of the BALLBUSTERS got anything to add? Because otherwise we'll end up running over. How much more presentation is there, by the way?
Just one more section. I'll try to go through it quick.
Okay, we'll rattle through the BALLBUSTERs. Any opinions from anyone? I won't go through by name. Just speak up if you've got anything to add. Clearly not. Everyone's probably in the chat. I'll pop you back up, QE.
Good. Yep, this is the last one. Let's make it real quick. This is pretty funny. So the NASA Star Lies. I got this from a video. I think the link's down here further with all these bozos in interviews. So they're live interviews. So I took it right from the transcript. So question, what does the sky look like from space? Neil Armstrong, Apollo 11. The sky is deep black, is viewed from the moon, and it is from the cislunar space. That is the space between the Earth and the moon. Edgar Mitchell, Apollo 14. You have to realize that in space, without the intervening atmosphere, the heavens are 10 times as bright. Stars 10 times luminous. Perfect consistency. Good job, guys. So let's take a look at the Chris Hadfields. So this is Chris Hadfield, the ISS commander, interview from the ISS. The sky is almost white. With the light of the universe, with the uncountable number of stars, you can't see the constellations because the sky is just so alive with stars. Chris Hadfield, post-ISS mission. What you see is an immensely deep blackness. It's like a black with a texture. It's a palpable blackness. Not just a blackness, but a powerful blackness. With black velvetness, but textured but without any shininess forever. Are these two different Chris Hadfields? I mean, this is a belly laughing joke, Your Honor. Bailiff, throw him out on his hair, out on his neck. So, James Riley, astronaut. Billions and billions of stars, and you can see them. In fact, They're so numerous, it's very difficult to pick out the constellations. That you and I and see here on the ground, some of the stars have colors we don't see on the ground. You see these pastel colors, light yellows, light pinks, light oranges, even light red ones, and light blue. There's all kinds of colors. I live in Colorado, and when you get up in Colorado on a clear night up in the mountain where there's no light, you can see all these stars. Well, multiply that by 1,000. That's what it's like in space. As opposed to Tim Peake, interview from the ISS. The most unexpected thing was the blackness of space. Are you seeing the inconsistency here, guys? Last one. Mike Massimino and Don Pettit, NASA astronauts, dual interview. Mike, you can see the stars. Don, oh yeah. Mike, pretty much all the time you can see the stars. Don, yeah. It's not a black void. He needs to meet one of the Chris Hadfields. There's more than stars. You can see the planets. You can see the moons. You can see zodiacal lights. Mike, whoa, the lights of the zodiac. Like I said, have you two bozos met Neil, the sky is a deep black Armstrong, and or Chris, a powerful blackness Hadfield number 2? The Keystone Cops, Abbott and Costello, and Mr. Magoo are blushing. You guys need to get your story straight. You're counting on all your listeners being as dumb as you are. Yeah, well, we're not. You're busted. That's it. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day.
Cool. We'll get some rounding out comments from Ballbusters, and then as I've plugged it all the way through the show, be sure to check out Ranty's show after this one if you're watching live on Quantum Eraser. We'll start with you, Anthony. Hopefully you've got a bit more to add than usual. Get your head out of the chat.
It's not in the chat, it's in the chips.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, if he's eating, then fair enough. I'll go to someone else. Arwen, you there?
Yeah.
What do you reckon to all these contradictions in regards to what you can see when you're up in the second law of thermodynamics violation known as outer space?
Well, I think that their entire visualization of what it's supposed to be is a fantasy in the first place. It's much more visual orientated rather than on trying to be physically realistic. That's where it stems from.
These people are liars, man. I just busted them out, Your Honor. They should be hung by a friggin' yard arm. All of them.
Okay.
Paula? I agree. It's disgusting. But yeah, Paula?
Yeah, they're unreliable witnesses. If they can't be consistent, then that's all they are. And of course, he's already been accused of quote mining, but people don't know, once again, the difference between quoting and quote mining. Quote mining would be if you are deliberately skewing the meaning by the context would have given a different understanding, but they never established that that's what's happening here, but they just make the accusation anyway and assume that if you're quoting their people and they don't like what the people are saying, then they call it quote mining. That's their definition of it. But other than that, no, nothing else to add.
Chocolate?
That's all they got is quote mining? That's all your ballers are left with is quote mining. Please show one. You don't even, number one, you don't know what it is. Quote mining. You have no friggin' clue. You think that stupid appeal covers you. I'll just call you a bank robber. Friggin' bank robbers out there. And one of your boys, Rumpus, is the one that's quote mining. He was caught out on Ranty's. Why don't you go climb on his neck? You friggin' retarded clowns. And your religion is retarded. And it just got jackyard. Ha!
Yeah, Chocolate.
Yeah, I think it's funny when these guys say it's quote mining. It's like, so what? What, like, are you kidding? These are quotes coming from the astronauts, the very people who are telling you they've been up there in this medium and they've seen this crap. And they're telling you with their own words, Some of them are telling you they see stars. I mean, some of them are saying it's so bright. Some of them are saying it's deep black. Are you in some type of trance that you can't see that these people are lying to you? Because they should all be on the same page, right? Did somebody miss the briefing? What the hell is going on here? And people, I mean, this was the type of stuff that for me drove me away from NASA long before Flat Earth. I mean, come on. You see these people telling you, talking out of both sides of their mouth, and you're just going to believe it because you want to? Nah, I'm sorry. It's the same thing with the Van Allen belts. Some of them tell you, oh, they went really fast. And then some of them tell you, oh, they didn't even know about it before they made it through the Van Allen belts. I mean, come on. It's double-speak nonsense, and people just fall for it. It's ridiculous.
Did I get everyone? Maybe Chocolate, Sleeping Warrior's back now. Can you hear us, Sleeping Warrior? No worries. We'll get some final comments from the Discord server, then we'll round out the live show. So feel free, share your pain.
I want to know how you guys think that the flat Earth can predict perfectly solar eclipses and lunar eclipses exactly like the globe Earth and heliocentric model can.
We haven't claimed it. You've just claimed it, though, haven't you? Like the heliocentric model can? Now, you're strawmanning
yeah,
us.
sure. It's perfectly
Oh, no, I get about 3 words out while I say he's strawmanning us, and suddenly it's his time to talk, rather than him to listen, be bent over, spanked for his fallacy that he's used. No, we don't claim that. We don't provide a model, and we don't say how it should work, as you say the heliocentric model does. But now we're going to get to the point in the after show, because I'm not going to let this go too long on the live show, point out that you won't even have a model.
Oh, yeah, sure we do. I mean, we can accurately predict the solar eclipses perfectly with the globe and heliocentric model. I mean, how does that work if it's
Can you link us that model?
Predicting it 800 BC. So were they spinning ballers? Clown show.
So, yeah, I'm not going to let that come into the main live show because I'm going to get our final thoughts from the Ballbusters. Then I'm going to round out the live show and ask people watching on my channel to stay tuned. So any closing remarks from any of the Ballbusters team?
Earth is flat.
That's true.
Yeah, these arguments are just, they're done. Like Ron said, Earth is flat. You're not going to prove curvature. You're not going to prove anything telling us about the sun and where it is and what it's supposed to be doing when you don't, in your own model, don't have the actual size or actual position. It's a joke. It's all a joke. We don't live on a spinning water ball in a vacuum.
We all got some rumblings from Discord. My bad. Discord rumblings, if you can wait to the after show. We will get back to you. Go on, John.
All right. Yeah, he said Chocolate was talking about their model. They don't even have a model.
Right. Arwin, Paula, maybe Sleeping Warrior. Hopefully we'll hear from him again. Any more for any more?
Nope.
Well, what a prompt ending this is going to be. So with that, I will say if you are watching this on either the Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley channels, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Quantum Eraser channel, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's Discord panel for making the live interactive show part of the show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to Paula, otherwise known as Bible Literalist, Anthony, that's Sleeping Warrior, Chocolate Saying, Arwin, and of course Quantum Eraser himself for making this Ballbusters possible. Be sure to smash the PayPal link below this live video if you want to support Quantum Eraser. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering streams, and we'll see you all in the next Ballbusters.
I'm designing a character.
Revel in your glory. It's okay.
Oh, I designed a siege hogger. It's a dwarf.
Are you drinking again?
Yeah, I think so.
Large dire pig with a catapult mounted to it, and it functions just like the siege tank of StarCraft, but in medieval style.
No idea what he's on about.
Of what? StarCraft?
Yeah, the siege tank.
StarCraft game?
Wow. You don't get it.
No, I don't need it, so I don't get it.
Any chance, is anybody in Discord? Can you kick them all to the after show so they're all off mute? All share their pain. There they go. Boing, 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 boing.
Do you like it?
It's like magic, innit?
Yeah. I like doing it to them. It's a control thing.
I like saying it like I'm a wizard and it just happening. If everybody does a little, I don't have to do anything.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Who did the boing?
Hey, make sure you get Paige on. She wants to talk about photons as particles, so make sure she gets on, Nathan, please.
Let's go next. Right away. Put Paige, you there?
No, she's not in there right now.
Oh, damn.
She was before.
That's a shame.
Hey, Righteous, your mic is keying off.
She's in. She's in.
Oh, hey, Paige. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Right. We haven't forgotten you. Actually, I had completely
No
forgotten you.
worries.
I'm sorry. Chocolate remembered.
Oh, that's great.
Remembered.
Yeah, I was looking through. Sorry, I'm out in my shed because it's really early here and the family's asleep, so I can't get on my laptop or anything. I'm doing this all through my phone. But I was looking at diffraction and the meaning of it, and I'm assuming that that's what QE uses for his natural phenomenon for the double slit experiment. Am I correct in that or not?
That's correct. Diffraction is the natural phenomenon, yes.
Diffraction is the natural phenomenon? Yeah. So it says here, it is defined as the bending of waves around the corners of an obstacle or through an aperture into the region of geometrical shadow of the obstacle or aperture. Now, if you go and look at geometric shadow, this is what got me. A geometric shadow is a set of points or a region of space where drawing a line between said points and a source always results in the line intersecting some obstacle. A looser explanation would be that a geometric shadow is the shadow objects would possess in the absence of fraction. So it's something that doesn't exist.
Love. Diffraction interference is the same thing. So I don't know where you're getting your definitions from. Richard Feynman, diffraction, there is no physical difference in between diffraction and interference. So you're going to have to come up with something better than that.
Sorry, no physical difference between what? Diffraction and what?
Interference.
Sorry, you're cutting out for me. That's all, QE. Interference.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so being interfered with.
Just repeat his statement because he might have broken up for you. So he's saying there is no difference between diffraction and interference. They are essentially the same thing.
Okay.
Do you want the exact citation?
No, that's right. I'm looking at it now. Oh, well, I'm looking at it in Google.
It's from the Feynman lectures. No one has ever been able to define the difference between interference and diffraction satisfactorily. It is just a question of usage. There is no specific important physical difference between them. Richard Feynman, the Feynman letters. Thank you very much. I thought you were here to argue particles versus waves.
See, no, I don't think they're either. You're just lumping me straight into a box and putting a label on me.
No, fair enough.
I'm not a
Hold on, John. Hold on, Paige. Hold on. No, that's fair enough. Well, just tell us what your position is.
Well, I don't want to make a positive claim because then you'll jump all over me. See?
You're very wise.
Well,
very
sounds
smart.
like she just wants to have a conversation.
I would like to have a conversation without being ad hommed and without being, told that I'm making a claim, because I'm not. I just want to talk about things.
Don't make shit up with me. You're starting to piss me off already.
Oh my God. See what I mean? Why can't we just have a discussion?
In other words,
why is this descended so quickly? We haven't even reached an
Yeah,
why just got really productive.
You charge me with things you think I might do. You're going to piss me right off.
Blood pressure.
Things I think you might
That's
do.
what we're all here for.
That you've displayed, you've done. Not. I'm only going by what.
Oh, thank God you're still here.
Heard you do in the past. I'm not.
Don't charge me. I don't care. Do you have special mind?
Said that I think light is a wave.
Let's just draw a line under this. Okay. Is there anything in regards to light being particles, light being waves, or anything in between?
It's beams.
Not you, Owen. Paige.
So you want me to tell you what I think it is?
Anything? I'm just giving you the mic in a ham-handed kind of way. Whatever you want on the mic is. Mic's all yours.
I'm just trying to offer another explanation that works as well as the explanation that they've got at the moment. What they did when they did all these different experiments, and sometimes it worked when they said it was a particle, sometimes it worked when they said it was a wave. They've gone, instead of throwing them both out, they've mushed them together and said, well, sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that. And I just think that's wrong. They should have gone, well, it doesn't work when it's like that, and it doesn't work when it's like that, so they both have to go.
Okay. Please stop. Please stop right now. Number one, can I deal with this right now, Nathan?
Yeah, go ahead. Hopefully uninterrupted. Whoever's unclicking their on mic mute button, every time you do it, that's all we hear, just so you know. I don't know who's doing it. Please stop. Go ahead, Q.
That's me, sorry. My button is really annoying.
Okay, number one. I like to hear what you think, but not in this context. I could care less what you think, only what you can validate. Number two, I don't need an explanation. I just got done with a presentation saying explanations are bunk without validated experiment. I need you to provide an explanation. First, I want you to tell me who these they are. You keep on referencing they. They are telling us this. They are telling us that. They aren't telling us this. Who are they? And then I want you to provide cowbell. That means state your claim and state the experiments that validate it. Thanks.
I don't have a claim. I'm saying that the experiment, when they do things like the double slit, they are saying it doesn't matter which experiment you look up, they all say that it comes out as a wave and turns into a particle. They give you an explanation, but don't give you the mechanism for how it's done.
Hold on.
Do not. They do not. Source lucky she's making this shit up.
Hold on. The problem is, Paige, you've said they. So we brace against wave-particle duality. And what you're just... Hold on, Paige.
I can't look up. God, I'm on my phone, not on a computer. Just hang on.
Who are they? And what are they claiming?
What was his name? Hang on a sec. There was an experiment.
If you just stop looking up for a second, the bit that I want clarity from you on specifically, Paige, is you're saying.
Well, you want me to get his name? I'm trying to get his name.
No,
You're saying don't say they.
I'm trying to maybe move past that by saying, in your assertion, you're saying they claim it comes out as a particle and turns into a wave, or vice versa.
No, they're saying it comes out as a wave.
Fine. Whoever's saying that is incorrect. So the wave is a wave function, a mathematical description of probability distribution.
Yes, I understand that. But how do they know? How do they know that it's? You're not proving it's a particle. You're just explaining the effect that's happening once you see it.
Okay, I understand. Nobody's ever attempting to use this as proof of particles. It's describing the effect of wave function collapse and the cause thereof. Now, the fact that we are challenged to prove the particles is kind of farcical, because that isn't what this experiment's for. You want to look into, say for the sake of argument, the photoelectric effect, then argue about whether or not we've got particles. That would be logical and reasonable, but not with either the double slit or delayed choice quantum eraser. Neither are attempting to provide validity to particles. The particles that are in those experiments are quantified mathematically when they hit the photographic plate in terms of how they appear. Now, they appear one at a time, but once you've got lots of them...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
I'm nearly there, Paige. I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there, Paige. Trying to explain wave functions.
Oh, no, I understand what they
claim. But I'm nearly there, Paige. They're hitting the photographic plate one at a time. Now, when they have one impact, can't extract the wave function from a single impact. You need multiple impacts to extract the mathematics of that probability distribution. Well, it's not being distributed. I'm nearly there, Paige.
Sorry.
It's not being distributed if there's only one impact. One impact of what, you might ask? Well, a particle. But at that stage, with a single impact, you're not getting the mathematical derivative of a wave function. You're not going to get anything that's going to be reified into a wave either, because it's not a wave. It's just a mathematical description for the way it's laid out after you've got more than one impact. But the only way I can use that to say, well, that proves there's particles, is at the point they only have a single impact of a single particle. Not wave, one particle hitting photographic plate.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's not... I totally agree with everything you've said. What I'm saying is that there's another explanation for why there's only one at a time hitting, and it's not a wave or the particle thing.
Okay. I mean, that sounds interesting. So what's your explanation for why you can have a single impact completely devoid of any possible reification of any wave? You've got a single, what I call... No, I won't even lead you. You go ahead.
Well, from what I can understand, the way to think about it is with like a drill bit. They're all touching, but in going around, causing the magnetic field and going in, and it only touches one spot at a time because they're all like a drill bit. Do you understand what I mean?
No. What are they?
The light. Like when they use the laser light, when they send out the laser light, it's not just one single particle.
Yeah, it is. What's the name of that laser, Huey? Forgotten the name of it.
And the delayed choice quantum eraser?
Argon pump laser, I believe.
That's correct.
Can fire one particle.
And there's another problem. Photons are neither electric nor magnetic, so it's a false equivalence fallacy.
Sorry, what did you say? What did you say? Light wasn't...
Photons are neither electric nor magnetic.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Can I offer a suggestion here?
Just before you do, I just want to see if there's any concluding remarks from Paige. Is there any concluding remarks, Paige? Is there anything any more? In other words?
It's pretty obvious. I'm not going to be able to get out what I want to get out because I can't get into my laptop.
But that's okay.
So no,
there's no pressure. This isn't me drawing a line under the subject. Far from it.
Yeah, no, it's 7:30 in the morning here. I can't make noise in the house, so I'm going to have to do this at a better time.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's why I was going to butt in and just say in the science and pseudoscience Discord, there's a Q&A for QE for Quantum Eraser, and you can post whatever you want in there.
No, that's not going. That's going away.
No.
Oh, that's going off. That's being switched off.
Hold on. Take it easy. That section is going away. So no, she can't go in there.
But I'm sure that.
Okay, is there another place that one might post a question?
It's coming. It's just not here yet. I've been swamped with the channel. There'll be stuff coming out. Listen, she can come on Nathan's show. I'm not going to stop going on Nathan's show. If she wants to pick any days that she wants, I'll try to be on every day. But we'll meet up at some point. Just get her research together, and we'll meet up there. That's fine.
Yeah, there's no pressure, no hurry. We're not drawing a line under it. That's what I was trying to get in.
Yeah. None of us are going anywhere. It's not like this is a, chomping at the bit thing. It's just...
I like it, Paige, because it means I can summarise my position better each time it comes up in a conversation. So I know it's annoying.
Absolutely.
It's frustrating for QE, but I just see it as an opportunity to metaphorically flex my muscles talking about it with my guru.
Well, like you and Bob, when... it's only by talking about different things and having other people go, oh, but hang on, it can't work like that because of this or this or this. And that person might not have thought of that. So that's all I'm trying to do. And I just, don't understand why.
I appreciate and like that. That's good. The frustration you're hearing from Quantum Eraser is because the things he's declaring are backed by scientific validity. Thousands of experiments that have been done to back the claims that are made thereafter, and there's examples of technological advancements as a direct result of the experimentation and its validity. So it's a frustration for somebody who's more heavily involved than me. This is all new to me. I can sound reasonably okay.
I understand.
I'm not.
I just when I saw this other theory, it works so similar to what QE's saying that.
Is that a scientific theory? Excuse me. Is that a scientific theory?
Well, what do you mean? Like, what do you expect for it to be a scientific theory?
May I? So,
Nathan, please.
Sure. So a moment ago, I said the reason you're getting frustration from QE is because his assertions come with scientific backing. In other words, a demonstrable experiment and plenty of cowbell thereafter to prove that it was useful, And he's saying to you, well, if you're saying...
Oh, okay. So this is a brand new... Yeah, it's a brand new theory by a guy who, does have a PhD.
That's not the question. Sorry, Paige.
Yeah, he's doing...
That's not the question. The question is it a scientific theory?
People on Discord, would you go on mute?
Yeah, you're losing me because other people have decided that they're going to unmute their mic and not say anything while we talk, Paige.
Is that why? Okay, yeah.
So the question is this theory a scientific theory, and does it have the thing that's frustrating QE when he makes his assertions with scientific backing? Does this theory have that?
Probably not to the level he wants, no.
When you say to the level, there's only one benchmark, which is...
Yeah, that's why I asked, what does he expect to have had happen?
Sure, an adherence to the scientific method. Observe natural phenomena, formulated scientific prediction, otherwise known as hypothesis, followed by systematic experimentation.
Right.
To invalidate the null and confirm the presumed cause as the cause of the effect that was observed at step one. So that's...
See, the biggest problem I have is that each one of those steps is exactly the same as what they use for the, wave particle duality and all those experiments. It's just the only thing that's different is the hypothesis, what they think is happening. The result ends up the same. The observed natural phenomenon's the same. Like, all of those steps are the same. It's just what they actually think is happening is different. Sure, do you know what I mean?
But upon performing those steps, the whole point is to validate the hypothesis. So you're saying, well, they've got a new presumed cause. Well, that's great. Just validate that it is the cause and then present it, and we'll take it seriously, because the things that are being presented...
if I could get
I'm
on
nearly
my
there,
computer
Paige.
and
I'm nearly
actually
there.
show you, then...
nearly there. The things that are being presented by QE have those things. They do have the cause that was presumed in what you say is the new hypothesis. Well, the old hypothesis had a presumed cause also, and then it was validated empirically through thousands of experiments being repeated, with the same presumed cause being validated in the experiment. Now, that's a standard that isn't going to be topped. And when someone comes along with a new theory, I don't care. I just want to see the experimental validity given to the presumed cause that they'll use to make their assertions thereafter.
Yeah, no worries. Next time I'll try and make it a bit later during the day so that I can actually get onto the computer and send you the links for all those things, for his experiments and shit.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So, let's go back to the other topic.
We have somebody waiting here. Flubber is chomping at the bit to
Go ahead, Flubber.
Have a continuation.
Oh, sure, yeah. I just want to know what you think of the heliocentric model perfectly predicting eclipses.
You don't live on a model. That's called a reification fallacy. Do you understand?
Yeah, but the model must be accurate then,
I haven't quite finished. I got 3 or 4 words out. That's called a reification fallacy. Do you know what a reification fallacy is?
Yeah, I do, and I think you're misusing it, because I'm not saying if something, then something.
Sorry, do you think that the model represents the world that we live in?
I think if it's tested and it passes the test with flying colors, then yes, it does represent the world accurately.
Then that is, by definition, a reification fallacy. The fallacy of misplaced concretedness. No, we don't live on that model. It matters not what the model says, because we do not live on it. It does not represent the world.
What if I said that the Earth is a flat plane with a dome? Is that not a model?
Yeah, if you assert that that's a model that you hold to and suddenly use it to make predictions, like you're doing with the heliocentric model and now your new fallacy of false equivalency, then no, yeah, that's a model also. So what? What's your point? It's still a reification fallacy.
Do you have any explanation for the stars and their motions?
You've used a reification fallacy. Now, don't whistle past it. We don't live on a model.
I did not use a reification fallacy. I used a hypothesis.
He explained it to you.
He's just trying to piss us off. Now he's saying he's using a hypothesis. This absolutely is not a hypothesis.
And there is no, you have no scientific predictions. Number one, you have no science whatsoever. And the Babylonians at 800 BC were predicting eclipses in 800 BC. So you're a clown show.
Okay, let's address that point. Let's say that it's the year 1910, and I've taken a boat across the Atlantic Ocean. And then, Charles Lindbergh flies a plane across the Atlantic Ocean. Since we could at one time take boats, does that mean that no one ever flies? They all take boats?
What the hell does this have to do with anything? What used a reification fallacy? What?
Yeah, you're committing a fallacy. Here's your fallacy, and I'm illustrating it
You're
perfectly.
now talking through every word I say. You haven't addressed the fact that
I can't hear you when you're talking. Something's weird.
Talking through me. I just want to get a full sentence out without interruption from you. When I point out for the 3rd time that your logic was fallacious. Asking us with a false equivalency how our model works is just an extension of the original fallacy, which was the fallacy of misplaced concretedness. And there he goes again, while I highlight the fallacies used. The fallacy of misplaced
Why do you pause so long when you talk?
My God! It must be so difficult to realise that you're being shafted and your claim is fallacious. It must be so irritating for me to concisely summarise for the 4th time that you are abusing the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, and we do not live on a model, and it matters not. It doesn't prove your point, and now you're asking us new questions. You're not addressing me. I've said it 4 times. And what's your address? Oh, you seem to take a long time to rip my shit to pieces. Yeah, it's a fallacious claim you've made about your model.
Can I respond now? Because you just paused for a long
maybe
time.
Respond without hand-waving what I've just said. Or just say, no, it isn't a fallacy. Yeah, sure. It's a hypothesis, which it absolutely isn't.
Here's how I'm going to do it. Are you done talking?
I'll be done talking when I've finished. Not when you interrupt 5 times and then ask after interruption if I've finished. I'd like you to actually address your fallacious use of a model, which we do not live on.
Sure, I never claimed that we live on a model. Is that...
I asked if the model we lived on was the world we lived in, and you said yes.
I don't understand why you...
I don't understand that you just pointed out that I did actually make sure to make point that the model is the world.
Yeah, I asked you a very simple question. You answered yes, it's comparable to the world. No, it isn't. That was you nicely, succinctly summarising, because I led you beautifully, the actual fallacy you're using, you stupid dick. Now you're going to whistle past it and tell me I'm wrong? No, I don't understand this fallacy, and that you're not using it as your defence. Yeah, you are, bonehead!
What's the difference between reification fallacy and a hypothesis?
A hypothesis would be a scientific prediction that would presume a cause and then put that forward in experimentation to be validated. A scientific prediction's a hypothesis. A logical fallacy is something that a retard like you uses to assert that a model is the world we live in. Okay?
I made no such assertion.
I asked you to summarise if you thought the model was the world we lived in. Does it represent the world we lived in? Well, I think if it makes accurate enough predictions and it matches perfectly, then yes, was your answer.
You just said 2 different things. You said...
I gave your answer. I'm pretty much verbatim giving you your answer to me when I asked you if the 2 were the same, if they're comparable, if the model predicts what happens in the world. Does it represent our world? Answer from you. Yeah, if the model's predictions are pretty much accurate with the eclipses, blah, 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 yes, in other words.
Yeah, that's different than saying that is the world. And
yeah, that's what you're... Oh my god! So I've summarised his hypothesisation quite accurately then.
Yeah, I use a hypothesis and you're...
No, hypothesisation is not a hypothesis.
You don't know what a hypothesis is then, huh, my friend?
Oh, I sure do. You guys don't know what reification fallacy is. But
he says he knows what a hypothesis is.
You've been using it since the word go.
Those the fire time.
Reifying, but that's all right.
No worries.
So how do you explain? How do you...
Don't ask us anything. You've just said you know what a hypothesis is. So now we're going to put you to task and ask you what that is. What's a hypothesis? What are the main constituent parts of it?
No, let's not deflect here.
Let's not make me define what I've just said. I know what it is. You said you know what a hypothesis is. Now you're going to tell us. You're going to prove that you know what a hypothesis is by giving us the constituent parts of a hypothesis.
No, we're not going to do the red herring fallacy. We're going to stay on point.
Better start
and you're going to
clown.
This model is accurate, even if
he's just going to keep asserting that his model's accurate, even though that's the fallacy of misplaced concretedness. He's not addressed that. He's just going to reassert that he's got a model. So you're going to get another opportunity to prove that you're not completely stupid by telling us what a hypothesis is. You said you knew. You said this is a hypothesis, and I didn't understand when I said it was a fallacy. It's actually a hypothesis, which you know what it is. So tell us.
Okay, it's my turn to talk. So
No, you asshole. I'm asking you a direct question. What's a hypothesis? Not, oh, it's now my turn to talk. I'll talk about whatever the hell I like. No, you will answer my question.
How about you shut your trap and listen, because you have to deal with this.
I'll deal with whatever I like. I'm running the show, clown show.
We gotta deal
with it. I've got to deal with it. No, Fundy. You'll deal with me. What's a hypothesis, Fundy? Let's just see how stupid we can make you look by asking you 25 times what a hypothesis is and you deflecting my question.
Yeah, but you deflected from the fact that the model is perfectly accurate.
The model was addressed by it being a fallacy of misplaced concretedness.
You can call it whatever you want, but it's still...
Yeah, fallacy of misplaced concretedness, which you've hand-waved, and then just said I'm not addressing the model, which I absolutely am, by pointing out it's a logical fallacy, and we don't live on a model. But you don't like it, and continually assert the same thing, and talk through me. So, you've also said it's a hypothesis.
How does this model work if it's...
Don't ask me a question, you also said it was a hypothesis.
No, I was drawing a distinction between hypothesis and reification fallacy for your education because
and you said this is a hypothesis.
How are you going to deal with
You
the
said
fact
this
that
was a
this model is
hypothesis. Is he just going to lie and rumpus? Because if he doesn't acknowledge the fact that he said that this, i.e. his model, was a hypothesis, I'm going to kick him out because he becomes a liar instantly rather than just an asshole.
So you're running away from the fact that you can't
I'm not running away. You said this is a hypothesis, not a fallacy, when referring to your model. And if you're just going to rumpus the fact that I've got a decent memory, I'm not a goldfish, and can remember precisely what you claimed, then you're just going to get kicked out as being an asshole who's obfuscating that I haven't got a crap memory. You claimed it was a hypothesis, your model, that is. And I want to know if you know what a hypothesis actually is by telling us what a hypothesis is. If you don't, it's bye-bye time. Not I'm running away, I'm still sat here with you, Fundy.
Nathan's going to run.
Yeah, I know exactly what hypothesis.
Sorry, did some asshole from the chat just say Nathan's going to run when I've just literally said I'm still sat here running this show? Yeah?
Running.
Yeah.
I'm the circus master, you stupid twat. Not running anywhere, whipping you.
Yeah, sure, by only interrupting and muting me when you get mentally outgunned.
Not muting you, stupid dick. You're talking through me when I succinctly point out that A, you've used the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, which you still haven't addressed. And B, you've said it's a hypothesis when referring to your model. And then when asked if you know what a hypothesis is, you said, yeah, I know what a hypothesis is. Now we're putting you to task. What's a hypothesis?
It's part of the scientific method that makes a prediction that's testable.
Tell us what the constituent parts are.
Oh, well, it depends on which version of the scientific method you use, and...
Oh, there is one. Only one scientific method. The scientific method.
Who defines a scientific method?
The scientific method is the scientific method. The is the clue in that particular statement. The scientific method.
Who holds the definition of the scientific method?
I don't give a crap if you know it or can't Google it in this conversation. We know it, and we're asking you what the constituent parts of a hypothesis is. You still haven't given it us.
Yeah, there isn't a single scientific method with like...
Yeah, there is. It's called the scientific method, bonehead.
Citation needed.
The other scientific methods you think are scientific methods are rather speculation, philosophical conjecture based upon the idea and the spirit of the scientific method.
I don't mind. I'll take a different tact.
In actuality, there's just one scientific method.
I don't mind. I'll take a different tact. Give us any hypothesis from what you claim is any scientific method, and we'll have a little look at that then.
Yeah, sure. If the Earth is a sphere and...
No, not a hypothesis. What is the definition of a hypothesis? Don't give us a formulated hypothesis for some bullshit. Tell us what a hypothesis is. You still aren't listening, and now you're going to go and give us some bullshit fucking claim rather than defining the constituent parts of a hypothesis. And his tactic is to fundy globehead mute me by talking through me. Maybe you'd like to throw an accusation that I'm muting you at you while you talk through me now. Is it time for me to sit up and get up on my mic so you can't do it anymore? We want the constituent parts of a hypothesis, not a formulated bullshit hypothesis from you. What are the constituent parts of a scientific hypothesis? Go.
The prediction and the formulation of an experiment.
No, that would be wrong. That's not a hypothesis, bonehead.
Prove it.
Prove it? I know what a hypothesis is, and you clearly don't. You've just said it's an experiment. No, that comes after the prediction. It's the thing you use to validate your hypothesis. Wrong, fundy moron. Wrong. You're not listening, you're talking through me. Are you going to accuse me of muting you again, shit for brains? You were wrong. Do you get it?
Is it my turn to talk yet?
It's my turn to point out to the audience who is listening to a complete retard that he hasn't got the vaguest clue what a hypothesis is further than his Google search he did after he bought a bit of time. Now we're at the point where we've asked him to define it and he used the word experiment. No, sunshine. Let me be clear. I don't want to be accused of shouting, so I'll get nice and close and talk in this really calm voice for a fundy fuckwit. Listen up, fundy fuckwit. When asked for what a hypothesis is, you used the word experiment now, didn't you, you fucking idiot? When in reality, a hypothesis is what you will go forth to do an experiment with. It's your prediction. It's what you think will happen in the experiment, you stupid fucking retard. Now, are you going to Discord mute me the entire fucking time, or have some humility and accept the fact that what you gave as the answer to my question, when I'm trying to demonstrate just how fucking stupid you are, was wrong? You are wrong. Do you get it, Bonehead? You're wrong.
Nathan, may I interject for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, Arwin. Tell him how wrong he is, because he used the word experiment.
You use the word
I will
experiment
definitely.
too when you're describing.
Oh, if I may, hold on. A very core component of what actually entails the scientific method is the ability to falsify it. That is actually the really important part. And that, in order for that to happen, a very specific setup has to be present within the structure of the experiment, of the scientific setup. And that is really what makes it what it is. The rest is all just speculation and conjecture based on what could be possible, what is assumed to be possible. But yeah, it's really about manipulating the variables and then having a null hypothesis where you could technically be proven wrong in a direct sense. That's really the core of it.
I understand all this.
No, you don't, you stupid, fundy, fucking asshole liar. Arwin understands this stuff. When asked for what a hypothesis was, you said the word experiment. Don't tell us that you understand. You are by far and away the most stupid person here. Demonstrably by the words that came out of your mouth. Okay? You don't understand.
Oh yeah, sure I do, but this is just...
No, you don't. I asked you what a hypothesis was, and you said experiment. You stupid clown.
Nathan, why do you start talking as soon as I start talking?
Because you're a clown. And Arwin understands this stuff and can have a decent conversation with me about the process that is science. You, on the other hand, can't define what a hypothesis is because you said the word experiment, which absolutely fundamentally is not in a hypothesis. You stupid clown. Do you get it?
Ad hominem fallacies, red herring fallacies.
Why are you now claiming fallacy? Is this like panic mode that fundies go into when I hand them their own ass based on their words? You haven't answered me correctly. You've answered me incorrectly. You didn't know what a hypothesis was. Yet when Arwin says something coherent about the scientific method, you jump in and go, yeah, I understand all this. No, you don't!
Obvious distraction because of your inability in your little pansy life to deal with the fact that this model...
Pansy life? You little fucker. Get out. Starts with the ad homs because he's had his ass handed to him, little prick. No, mate, we demonstrated how stupid you were here today, and anybody who has ever followed any conversation here knows you were incorrect in your answer. So to toddle along after the conversation's been concluded with you, the retard here, to tell Arwin that, oh yeah, I understand what Arwin's... No, you haven't got the vaguest clue. Prick. I hate these people sometimes.
Wow, I had no idea that he was going to say that crap.
No.
Don't they understand that
they gotta share their opinion.
Sorry, go on, Paige.
I said, don't they understand that something that's backwards engineered is going to work? They're not going to create a model that doesn't explain everything.
Yep, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Well, I really got stuck on the moment where he actually brazenly declared that his model had no flaws. Like, really, no flaws concerning gas pressure without a container or...
Guarantee he doesn't even know half of this model that he doesn't have anyway because they don't have a model. So,
right, but apparently without actually knowing the model, he already knows that it's flawless.
Because you heard somewhere, somebody told you heard down the line, you were taught that you have a model that works. And now you think you live on that model. It's brainwashing.
Go on, Virus, go ahead. Share your pain.
I think Flo was right.
That's very well welcomed. You think the guy who opposed our demolition was right. Well, that's lovely. You also think Neil deGrasse Tyson's right, even though we pummeled that too. So I think there's something we can all add to this conversation, Virus. I think the thing you should bring here is silence.
Okay.
I just think that there's people that need to get up to date with the flat Earth debate.
It will never
missed.
Oh, that's what do you miss?
You would think they'd be up to date. They're here every day. Apparently, they don't listen though.
You back with us, Anthony?
Yeah. What have I missed?
Not a great deal. It's the usual thing. You point out to somebody that using a model to prove the Earth is a sphere is a reification fallacy. They handwave dismiss it and tell you that they've got a hypothesis which they can't define, and it isn't. And ultimately always ignore the actual demolition of the argument. We don't live on a model.
Oh, we don't?
No, I'll say it calmly again. That's the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, otherwise known as a reification fallacy. Page put it, you match up a few patterns that you've watched in the sky with a model that you've created, and then use an affirming the consequent fallacy to claim that that makes the model real. If I observe these twinkly lights doing whatever, then my model is true. My model's true because I see these twinkly lights in the sky doing what I tracked them doing and then mapped onto my model. It's like, no, afraid not. That's why we have science, to back things with empiricism, rather than pseudoscience, where they observe some lights in the sky and then make up a model.
Oh, that's my biggest thing too, is when people start talking about the sky and the stars to prove what they're standing on. You know, you're literally looking up to prove what's down.
There's a reason for that.
Explain.
Like I was saying once before, it's a 2D surface area versus a 3D surface area. Both of them are going to have different skies. So you can use the sky we have in reality to compare to the 2D surface area and the 3D surface area to see which one it matches.
So when have you been out in space?
You don't need to go out in space.
Last week, you know.
Do you remember Rumpus claiming?
Well, it'd be pretty hard, though, to account for all the visual phenomena that we see just in looking out in our own reality, let alone trying to model something like that. Sorry for whoever Stoza stepped on.
But I mean, also, like, what about like how an equatorial telescope mount can track an object from any latitude, though, like using only one axis of rotation? Because I mean, it was specifically designed for, rotation of the Earth.
Epic timing. So in affirming the consequent, formal logical fallacy. Absolutely love it. If the Earth is a sphere, then my equatorial mount will track these stars around a sphere. The equatorial mount does track them through a sphere, therefore the Earth is a sphere. Perfect timing.
What if you
the drain is opening?
Okay, well, actually, I mean, what if we were...
Share your pain. We're here to help.
In order for something to be brought into science, it has to be able to be tested to not be false.
Yes, that's called a null hypothesis, if you will. However, in the actual scientific method, rather than some nonsense people make up, you don't directly test.
I mean, I am going.
There we go. I was only about halfway through what I was stating, but clearly that means it's time for interruption from an asshole. I hadn't finished. What's your problem? If you're actually following the scientific method, you don't test the null. Do you understand what that means? As you interrupt me, asshole.
Why would I be testing my null?
You just said you've got to prove it not to be true. You've got a way of falsifying it, as you put it. Testing isn't correct. Correct? Hello? Don't seem to be interrupting me anymore, do you stupid dick? You don't test the null. Do you know what that means?
The null? What about it?
You don't test it. Do you know what that means? What does that mean in relation to you being able to falsify it, as you phrased it?
I mean, it's probably gonna has no force. Like, it's invalid. It's not gonna be anything associated with what's going on.
Don't test for it not being the thing you assume. You test it to see if it is the thing you assume causes the cause. And if it isn't, then you verify your null. But you don't directly test the null.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay then.
So, what do we do now, Nathan? What should we do now?
I've got a cup of coffee. I'm all good. I'm going to schedule the debate that's going to run after Ranty's show's finished.
What are you going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently I got a P900 from Ranty.
Oh, you know now.
Giving you a P900?
Yeah, I slipped out for a few moments.
Congratulations.
Oh, right, so now he's your best friend and you love him.
Traitor!
Ranty's a good guy.
Wow. Congratulations, Darwin.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised though, but yeah.
When are you going to go back to the Globe soon now?
Does that mean you're going to unblock him now?
He's not blocked. He's not blocked. I unblocked him long ago.
Yeah, but I remember a week ago you were
I just realised what you were talking about.
Yeah, but that was because of the moment of it all, you know? It was like everybody was pushing at the wrong time. I was just trying to cool off from his annoying behavior and all the bullying and all the troll shit. And then everybody was like, just apologize. You know, it was just all
have
the wrong
Have you been gracious in accepting his kind gift?
Yes, well, I do. I will accept it, and I do definitely. Well, I think I am thankful. I'm not gonna scoff at it. I also realize that now I have to kind of live up to the reputation of that thing and show something for it. So, but kind of looking forward to it to finally be able to do something like that. I'm gonna start out with the moon. I don't even have to travel for that. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I hope it won't blow up in my face.
Like Jose?
No, like literally he rigged it with a bomb when you turn it on. Just kidding. No, that's probably not gonna happen. No, but yeah, it's nice. I didn't really fully see everything he said about it, so I don't know exactly what his thoughts behind it were.
Turn a new leaf,
I guess
maybe.
Hmm?
I know. I actually spoke to him about it, so I can probably fill you in if you want to know.
Yeah, sure.
He just wants to give back, basically. You know, he's been very well supported by the community, and you, without putting too fine a point of it, haven't in regards to the camera that you wanted. And between you and I, up until this point, Ranty and I have discussed the fact that because he got a lot of promotion by way of me promoting his GoFundMe and organising Ranty-a-thons and various other things, that meant that kind of thing only can happen once. And I've had this conversation with Anthony almost immediately after that GoFundMe, which was to say, I won't be able to pull it off again for you, I'm afraid, Anthony. That's it. You can only do it once. 6 months might elapse, 12 months might elapse, and you might be able to do it again. But that's
can
kind
we just clarify? I didn't ask for that though, right? I said I deliberately didn't want that.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm not even saying you did want anything at all. I'm just saying that in regards to us discussing it, I'm like, I can't pull it off a second time. You get the community engaged in something that somebody wants, and then if you try and do it immediately again afterwards, it just fails, which is what happened to Arwen, which is unfortunate because Ranty got all the benefit and Arwen didn't. So that's kind of been discussed between us, between then and now, when he's got his P1000 through a GoFundMe, and then immediately after you did a P900 one and it just flopped on its arse. Well, he's got a P900 and now he wants to give back and say, you know, we value you, Arwen, in a big way. And Ranty especially wants to demonstrate that to you by saying, here you go, this is something that you've wanted, I've got it to give you, I've got the thing I wanted from the community, I am the community in this instance, here's a P900, you got what you wanted, everyone's happy. Simple.
Yeah, I got a question for Anthony.
Go ahead.
Hey, Anthony, you still haven't given me the answer about how you directly manipulated the cause of the egg rising in your one experiment.
He added salt.
Did you not watch the experiment?
He added salt.
Yeah, what was the direct cause of the egg rising?
There wasn't a big reveal, like he did it in the camera.
I think he's
so what was the hypothesis?
In the class.
Hold on, I think he's back chocolate. Go ahead, Anthony. Or leave a long protracted silence. It's entirely up to you.
I could do it.
I thought Anthony had just come back to his mic. Direct question to Anthony, so if he's there. Breaker. Don't think you're going to answer, mate. He's disappeared.
Over.
Hey, Nathan, do you want to play the yes-no game? This is usually good at exposing flat earthers.
Middle of premiering a show, so you've got me at a very distracted time, so you'll probably do well. Go ahead.
You can expose a soup sandwich.
I don't mind. Go ahead.
That's a reification fallacy.
Go ahead.
Have people orbited the Earth?
Have I orbited the Earth? Orbiting is begging the question.
Have humans orbited the Earth?
Yeah, I'd need a gap to answer as well, though, rather than a repetition of the question I was in the middle of answering. Orbiting.
You misunderstood the question.
Yeah, that's the same thing you've done twice now. You've asked me the question, I've started answering, and you've started fucking talking, haven't you? This is a great yes-no game. Maybe I'll get a chance to actually answer. Orbiting's a presupposition with your little shitty yes-no questions. Yeah? Orbiting is a presupposition. Oh, what? I'm only allowed yes or no? Evidence? Oh, well, fuck you with your yes-no. It's a presupposition, orbiting. Do you know what presupposition is? Do you know why orbiting's a presupposition? Do you know why your question's malformed? And I'm saying an absolute fuck you to your yes-no question and pointing out the logical fallacy that's utilised in your yes-no question. Do you not like that? Maybe you were expecting a different answer, like a yes or a no, rather than me pointing out how it's a logical fallacy. That's a shock, isn't it?
Nathan, we're going to try again. I'll reformulate the question for you. Is there evidence that humans have orbited the Earth?
No. Orbiting is a presupposition.
Is there evidence that... Okay, so the answer is no. That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Orbiting is a presupposition of a fake space that takes place. That you can't have the place that orbits are claimed to take place. Space is fake.
Okay, so the answer is no, right? All right.
No, there's more to it. We're in a flat Earth debate most of the time. I know this is BALLBUSTERS, but ultimately speaking, the presupposition that you're trying to ask me to justify whether or not we've got any evidence of comes along with a fake medium called space. So, you know, it's like me asking you to justify whether or not humans have experienced time dilation in Narnia as a yes or no question.
I didn't ask you. Well, I could easily answer yes or no without such a long-winded response. It's pretty simple. So let's.
Really? Do we have time dilation problems in Narnia? Have humans experienced time dilation problems in Narnia?
No, but I haven't told you.
No? You telling me that you haven't got Edmund experiencing time dilation? He came back through the wardrobe much, much younger.
interesting analogy, but we're going to...
Not an analogy. He came through the wardrobe younger than he went in it. What's your problem? I don't really understand it. There's a time dilation issue. Yes or no question. Humans have experienced it.
I didn't ask you why you're answering the question the way you are. I just asked you...
Oh, right. That's a terrible problem for somebody who's trying to corner me with a crappy little blunt tool.
Yeah, Nathan, I know that you're trying to run away from this because you know where it's going, but...
Run away? I'm sat here answering your every question and also pointing out the fallacy that's attached to this blunt little tool you're using.
So how about I ask the next question and you answer that one?
What, with a yes or no only? Am I not allowed to point out the fallacy attached? Will you rumpus the living crap out of me if I try and point that out?
Just a yes or no. That's how the game works. It's small.
Oh, really? Listen up, fundy fuckwit. I'll do precisely what I like. You tell me that I can only use yes or no. Listen up. I'll do whatever the fuck I like.
Game.
Okay, shithead?
That's how the game works. You said
Oh, really? That's how the game works? No, the game works. You ask me a yes or no question, and then I point out the logical fallacy that's attached to the question. That's how it's fun for me.
No, that's not the way I thought.
Yeah, that's not fun for you, is it? Because you're trying to corner me with a blunt little tool.
It's easy to corner you.
Get out of here with your
easy to corner me with this blunt little tool that I demolish at every corner. With you only saying, no, you can only answer yes or no. No, I'm a sentient being. I can do pretty much whatever I like.
So how about we play by the rules of the game, which is you answer yes or no. Are you capable of answering yes or no, or is your brain too small?
That's not your game to be playing. That's Nathan's game.
I'm playing. You just don't want to play the game I'm playing with you, it seems.
Do you think that space is fake?
Space is absolutely, unequivocally fake. You can't have gas pressure without a container. And gas pressure... You see, yeah, you don't like my part of the game, my answer. Yeah? What a blunt little tool these fundies have to put into application in order to try and win. Yeah, space is definitely fake, because it's claimed to be a vacuum.
Footage from space is fake?
Oh, sorry. Are we back to the footage from Narnia that you didn't address? The footage showed him coming back younger.
This is my game. You're going to answer yes or no.
Oh, really? So you can add any question you like. I'm only allowed to answer yes or no. You say there's footage of it happening. I point out I've got footage of the analogy I used to compare. I preempted that you'd go to this shit footage and already got my defense in early, didn't I, there with Narnia?
When you ask questions 1,000 times a day and you expect yes or no answers, and someone else plays the game with you and it offends you, you've either already lost the game or you need to play the game. So don't play the game with people. Don't play the yes no game with people. And then when they play the yes no game,
he can't take what he dishes out.
It's booty blasted at its best.
Let me get it straight. You think it's unreasonable that I give a more expansive answer than a yes or no answer to a question about the fundamental nature of reality? He's allowed to come back with, we've got footage of it. I'm apparently in this game muted to only the words yes or no, because basically that's the only way you could ever win an argument with me.
Nathan,
he even started out with, oh, this is a good way to get flat earthers by getting them to say yes or no. Get the hell out of here with that crap.
I took up the opportunity because it's actually a useful opportunity to point out how blunt their little tools are for getting us into corners. That's what I thought it would be a useful opportunity. Also, a useful opportunity to point out every single logical fallacy that comes alongside with their every question that only is apparently permitted a yes or no answer.
Get into the...
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan,
right, because
I don't know why you're in trouble.
It's a reasonable exercise, and I don't know why you're booty blasted about it, but it exposes it opens your mind to possibilities. I think that's important. I think that if you answer yes or no questions very simply, that
I can do that
there'll
too.
be a chain of logic at the end of the exercise that might just help you.
At the end of the exercise, he just asserted that you can see this shit on TV. So he gets to babble on bullshit about what you can see, and I don't get to put in any address by preemptively talking about Narnia. That's not allowed. I'm only allowed a yes or no. Are you dumb fucks so stupid to think that I'm going to fall for this stupid, idiotic ploy to put me in a position where I can only say no or yes to fundamental religious assertions about space being real based on a fucking television program showing it you? I love these protracted silences. Your blunt little tool is just a useful toy for me to toy with you about your reifications and your affirming the consequence and your use of a TV show to back your claim. No. You hand-waved Narnia, didn't you? You hand-waved Narnia.
Nathan, I just asked a question. Nathan, I didn't make any claim. I'm just asking questions, and I would like to hear your thoughts.
You claimed you saw it on TV! You lying sack of shit. Didn't make a claim.
I didn't see anything on TV.
So now you're doubling back on your claim that you saw the people go into space?
Have you ever seen footage from that?
Don't ask me. I'm asking you to justify, or are you doubling back on, i.e. now proclaiming that what was recorded only moments earlier, when I started pointing out that I'd already got my defence in by pointing out that stuff on Narnia is on TV. Don't talk through me. Don't talk through me.
Your tactic of debate.
Why is this guy now backing this fundy? Why has this guy now decided that he needs to rumpus me? He said he saw it on fucking TV. I'd already preemptively attacked that by using Narnia. Now, all we've got now is Discord rumpusing. You're fundamentally screwed. You've not been to space. You've seen it on TV. Space isn't real. It can't exist. It's a violation of a law of nature. But his defence, when I'm apparently only allowed yes or no's, is to say he's seen it on TV.
I didn't make any such claim. Nathan, why is this so difficult for you?
Not difficult for me. I'm having a right laugh. I'm ripping you a new asshole. Difficult? What are you talking about?
He has to keep his religion going. Of course it's going to be hard for him.
Why is it about these literally delusional fundies in the Discord server that somehow think they're winning?
It's called projection. It's what 6-year-olds do when they run out of arguments.
No, you're losing.
Arvin, do you want to try the yes-no game?
That's exactly what Nathan does.
Well, Nathan actually brings on very elaborate.
These guys' time.
Yeah, guys, share your pain.
He literally just said, no, it's Nathan.
Yeah.
It's projection. That's so dumb that they'll summarise projection in a couple of words after Arwen's defined what they're doing. That's how thick they are.
Nathan, do you think that the SR-71 flew at Mach 3.4?
I've no idea. I've never flown on an SR-71. What the hell? I don't know. Have you got a claim in regards to the SR-71? Or is this a straw man that you're going to now hold up against me?
No, you can answer yes, no, or I don't know. And it sounds like that's an I don't know.
Sorry, I said I've never flown on an SR-71. Have you?
No. Do you think that the U-2 spy plane flew at 90?
So this is just what's my aeroplane then? So there wasn't any conclusion in regards to whether or not an SR-71 does something, which I've never experienced and neither of you. It's just now ask me about what the Blackbird does.
So your answer is I don't know. That's fine. That's how the...
You don't fucking know either, stupid shit for brains. What's your point?
I don't have to respond to that because the game...
Because the game doesn't have a conclusion when I absolutely obliterate this point, so move on to the next point. You haven't experienced it, I haven't experienced it, and suddenly you realise that basically, because I've pointed this out, you don't actually have a point anymore. So what, just constant Discord rumpus me while I point it out?
There is no rumpusing. That's not what's happening. You're being stopped to remind you that is not the debate tactic that is being used. The debate tactic that is being used is his. It's a game you agreed to play. It's one you're willing to explore. You've answered with "I don't know" multiple times.
What baller fantasy trivia?
Not knowing.
Why do you keep asking these baller fantasy trivia questions about all these presuppositional things and details and supposed events that you believe in?
I know, it's kind of
Why
sad.
the trivia?
Yeah.
This is the game that I posited that we should play, and you agreed to play it. So are you incapable of playing it?
We are playing it. We're just ripping apart the questions as we go. It's quite good fun for us.
You're not playing it properly.
You're not playing properly. The way I've got this game set up, I should be winning.
Well, we do actually answer.
Yeah, he's a tool.
You know?
Absolute tool.
Anybody else want to try the yes/no game without talking?
Even though
I'm
we
still
are
playing.
filling
What's
in
your
a
next
lot of
question?
time, we do actually answer the questions, unlike you.
Maybe you could explain your point with the SR-71, because that didn't seem to have any point.
Well, your answer was yes, or I don't know, and you said I don't know, so that's fine. We can go to the next question.
So what's the point of the question? Maybe you can fill us in, because it just seems like a random question. I mean, have you flown on Concorde And you might answer yes or no, and you might say, I don't know if Concorde's real if you're a crazy person. But what's the point?
Here, I'll reveal the point with this line of questioning. Do you think that there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Well, I've spoken to somebody. I interviewed a guy called Robert Shortman, who'd spent about 18 months, 12 months like non-stop in Antarctica. And he testified that there absolutely was not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So given I've got first-hand testimony from someone who's spent a prolonged period down there, I would say no. But I haven't been there. I haven't confirmed that. But I've had first-hand testimony from someone who has. Have you ever spoken to anybody who's been to Antarctica?
Next question, Nathan.
Have you ever spoken to anybody ever who has spent any time whatsoever in Antarctica? Yes or no? Yes or no question. Yes or no?
He's just going by the list.
You're not playing by my rules. You're just Discord server rumpusing. It seems that you don't want to play by my rules. Have you ever spoken to anybody ever?
You've already lost the argument. Okay?
Have you ever spoken to
anybody
anybody
you're not
ever?
a moderator. Shut up.
Yeah, have you ever
I
spoken...
understand I'm not. I'm trying to fucking help people. I'm helping you, and I'm helping...
Why is this guy just interrupting to say it's not fair, you're not playing by our rules? That's his only argument. You're not playing the yes-no game the way we want you to play, and it's looking very bad on us. Are you incapable? This means you lose. That's the best you've got to interrupt, mate.
Going to be played right.
Look, the guy said he was gonna share the points to the list of questions, and he didn't. He just continued asking new questions.
Their only defense here
so what is
that
the
we're
point
not playing
to
properly,
these questions? Can you please elaborate first before you continue the list of questions?
Well,
I guess I should have laid out the rules of the game before I introduced it.
The rules?
Yeah.
Rules?
I think your game sucks.
Nathan, next question. Do you think that there's a 24-hour sun in the Arctic?
I already answered in the Antarctic. In terms of the Arctic, I can pretty much observe almost a 24-hour sun from my location here. And during a 24-hour sun tracking, we had a participant who showed us the northern 24-hour sun actually taking place.
And what did he use video to show that taking place?
Yeah, live.
Is there video of a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic?
Did you not listen? I've got testimony from a guy in the Antarctic who made it perfectly clear, having spent an entire year down there non-stop, that there is no 24-hour sun in the Antarctic. However, with cameras from Joe Blogs, who just decided to tune in to a 24-hour sun tracking program that I put on, presented the northern 24-hour sun. So, I'll repeat it again for the third time, just for clarity. No 24-hour sun in the Antarctic, 24-hour sun in the north. Clear?
You've been to either place?
Did he not just listen? I've spoken to somebody who has spent 12 months non-stop in Antarctica, 18 months in total in Antarctica, who testified and made it clear it's my most popular video on this channel. If you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. It's called Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber, where he gives his testimony that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. In regards to the northern rotation, or apparent rotation of the sun, from a northern location, I have demonstrated this on my channel, live!
Nathan, thank you for that add-on, that appendix. Have you been to either location?
Have I been to Antarctica? No. Have I been to the north? Yes.
Have you been above the Arctic Circle?
No. So what?
If you can...
I don't need to go to the Arctic Circle to observe that there's 24-hour sun in the north.
Wait. Why are you talking? I was trying to answer your question.
I didn't ask a question. I made a statement of fact. I do not need to go there to observe 24-hour sun.
So you would rely on video to confirm this?
I've been to the north and I've experienced 24-hour sun myself. Do I have video of it? No. Have I presented video of it? Yes. On my channel. It wasn't me holding the camera, but it was done live. As regards to Antarctica, which you absolutely have not been to either, or ever presumably even spoken to anybody who has. I've spoken to somebody who has first-hand testimony. Somebody who has been to Antarctica, who I know personally and have met, called Robert Shortman.
Okay, so just like you have a first-hand account of it.
No! For fuck's sake! You can listen to a first-hand account from a gentleman called Robert Shortman on this channel. Somebody who does have first-hand experience and testifies there is absolutely unequivocally no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, while I appreciate, guys, that us going round in circles indefinitely, with you clarifying that there is somebody, not me, who has testified on this very channel, if it's Nathan Oakley 1980, shout out if you're watching on Nathan Oakley, that's testified there isn't 24-hour sun, and that totally fucks up your point that you're about to make. I can appreciate that you want to go over this 6 more times.
Nathan, can I ask another question related to that?
Well, not really, because kind of, as far as I'm understanding it, you're a globe head and you think there is 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And there isn't. I've got first-hand testimony. Why are you talking? What's going on? I've got first-hand testimony of somebody who's spent time down there. And they say there isn't. So that's a big problem, considering you think there is.
Nathan, if you can use the first-hand account of your friend, can I use one of an astronaut that I'm friends with?
An astronaut that's gone to a second law of thermodynamics violation. The thing is, his claim, Robert Shortman's, is of a location that apparently we can go to, and isn't violating any natural laws. Now, if your lying son of a bitch astronaut is going to tell us about going to space, then his testimony is immediately debunked by the second law of thermodynamics, because he's claiming to travel to a vacuum. So let's see how your astronaut gets on, given that I've already preemptively fucked any argument that he might have about going to space.
Nathan, can I dismiss your account of this man because of the Antarctic Treaty that doesn't allow him to actually go there?
Yeah, he went in the guise of the Antarctic Treaty upon a research vessel that he was doing plumbing for. He explains all of this in his testimony.
Can I call him a liar just like you called my friend a liar?
Having not listened to a word he's ever said. What was his name? This man, just before you call him a liar.
I'm sorry.
What?
Hey,
Arwen,
still went there. You can go there.
That doesn't mean continue to talk indefinitely, Arwen. So, the man you're about to call a liar, I'm not clearing the airwaves for you, fundy fuckwit. I'm going to ask the guy who's about to declare... Why are you talking? Asshole.
Please continue.
Asshole.
Understand, asshole.
Yeah, you're just being a prick. I'm asking the guy who's about to declare this man a liar what the man's name is.
And there's somebody else's friend
Let's kick
who
this
is
guy
an
out.
astronaut, and they both came back and tell you 2 different things. Then one story is anecdotal and the other is. They can either be both equally dismissed or they both equally weigh credible. Tell me which one actually happens.
No,
How can
I can
you
dismiss
dismiss
the one. He wasn't talking to you, Arwen. He was talking to me. You can dismiss one on account of the fact that it violates a law of nature.
Follow.
Oh, he's not going to listen to my response. He's decided to make his demands that he seems reasonable to him, and then no reply is allowed.
Then no reply is necessary.
Yeah, well, I'm not...
Thank you.
Yeah, no reply is necessary. Yeah, I'm replying, motherfucker. Don't have to like it, fundy fuckwit. Yeah, one can be dismissed entirely because the claims that are coming from the astronaut are claimed to take place in somewhere that doesn't exist. Like Narnia. Someone claims I haven't finished, mate. I know that you think you've put a full stop at the end of your bullshit assertion, but unfortunately I do have a rebuttal. I know that's troubling. But yeah, I won't automatically dismiss Robert Shortman because there's no need to dismiss the place he's claiming to go. The dick that claims he's going to a violation of a law of nature, on the other hand, can automatically be dismissed because the location he's claiming to go violates a natural law.
And somebody said, no, you can't go to Antarctica, right? Right? Yes or no?
Yeah, Robert Shortman's been. He gives his testimony on my channel of travelling to Antarctica. There are plenty of video footages of people go to the edge of what is claimed to be Antarctica to see the fucking penguins. We're told all the time about how you can go there, and there's plenty of people who've got accounts of going there, and there's Robert Shortman giving an account of going there on my channel. Space, on the other hand, is a violation of a law of nature. So by that standard, which you say we can't dismiss one, or if we do, we can dismiss both, is one is claimed to giving a testimony from a place that doesn't exist, the other isn't. So back to this crap claim that you need a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, which doesn't happen according to testimony from a gentleman who's been there. Hey mate, that's how you put a full stop on something.
Nice.
No? No rebuttal? Yeah, I like those protracted silences. That's where I put full stops on things.
We're all done with the yes/no game. Like we're like 14, hanging out in high school.
I think so. Who have we still got left of the Ballbusters team?
Oh, I'm still here.
Is it literally just you and I?
No. I'm here.
Hey, Arwin. I'm going to close out the Ballbusters uncut and after show. So, any closing remarks from you two? Huey's obviously going to get ribs.
I'm still here as well.
Oh, hey, Anthony. Disappeared at a crucial moment when you were being asked about an experiment.
Oh, right. Sorry, I was busy getting spoke to in the background. I didn't hear my name.
I don't know if the guy in Discord wants to ask. I'm happy to keep it open just so that guy gets an opportunity to ask you about your experiment with the egg and the salt.
Did you hear his question or did he not ask it?
Said, how did you manipulate it? You go ahead, Chocolate. You can
how did you what?
Chocolate, if maybe you can summarize it.
He wanted to know what your independent variable was for that experiment.
Watch the video. I labeled it clearly in yellow text at the beginning, just before I did the actual test. Watch the video.
Still there?
It was Mr. Wiggles.
That was the
Hold on.
first thing I asked.
I think it was
Did you watch
Flubber.
Flubber?
No, it's Mr. Wiggles. I mean, Mr. Giggles.
Wiggles. I'm not even going to answer Wiggles.
No, Mr. Giggles, not Wiggles.
Oh, right. Well, Mr. Giggles is another troll. I'm sure it's the same bloke. I won't be answering that moron. He's a fucking idiot.
Okay. Cool. Anything you want to plug?
Red Pill Philosophy's channel for mirroring my video. Jason the Disbury family for allowing me to do it, share it. About it, really. Oh,
Hey,
shout
Anthony.
outs. Rumpus, apparently he's doing some actual videos. Have you heard?
I didn't know that.
Has he finally made his response video?
Apparently he's making one.
The one we've been waiting for since 2017.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
Soon he makes videos.
I'm still keeping
I don't
track.
remember what it was about.
He'll dig himself holes. You know, they've only got to open their mouths. So great, dedicated to a video.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to release this video, whatever it's about. It's going to be full of useless nonsense, mumbo-jumbo, mathematics, pseudoscience, begging the question, logically fallacious, stupid, moronic comments to do with the place that we live in.
Missed out on all the debating.
Oh, I'm busy doing stuff in the background.
Fair enough.
What debate?
Well, after Ballbusters, we have like a prolonged debate session with the people who join on Discord.
They debating or berating?
We had a yes or no question from one dude, and he was like, "You can only answer yes or no." And then in between, he gets to assert that he's seen men go to space on TV, and then lie about it later. But we can only answer yes or no. It was a real blunt little tool. It's very funny. Their defense at the end: "You're not playing the game properly." Right, I think I'm going to use that as an opportunity to round out this after show. So, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to Sleeping Warrior, Arwin, Chocolate Saying, Paula, otherwise known as Bible Literalist, and of course, Quantum Eraser for making this Ballbusters presentation possible. Again, a massive thank you to all of the Discord server for making the interactive part of this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate, and I'll see you all in the next Ballbusters.
Thank you.